Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Ninja World. Start with a shock fruit, save Tsunade from War Demigod. Chapter 41. Hotake Sakumo looked at the black cuboid suspended in midair. There was no fear on his face. Instead, he put the white fang short sword into the scabbard with a serious expression. On the hilt of the white fang short sword, look at the wind shadow. Seeing this, third Kazekage had a faint smile on his face. White Fang of Konoha, are you giving up your resistance? Hotake Sakumo didn't say anything, just looked at him quietly. When third Kazekage saw this, the smile on his face disappeared, and a seal was formed on his hands. Ong! I saw the huge cuboid above his head slowly starting to rotate. The speed of the huge cuboid rotating, getting faster and faster, and so on for a while, the huge cuboid rotated into a pillar shape. The huge cuboid revolved, and the wind that it brought up seemed to form a tornado, blowing the surrounding yellow sand and flying all over the sky. Go! Third Kazekage let out a loud roar, and then, on top of his head, a huge rotating cuboid, with a whistling sound, smashed towards Hotake Sakumo. The wind from the black cuboid blew Hotake Sakumo's bangs into the air. And he still looked at it calmly. The black cuboid smashed towards him, there was no movement to dodge. In front of the huge cuboid, he was like an ant, so small that he seemed to be crushed to death casually. However, when the high-speed rotating black cuboid is several meters away from Hotake Sakumo, he moved. His movements were so fast that no one could see clearly his movements. All those who paid attention to the battle situation here only saw a blue sword light that passed by like lightning. Immediately afterwards, the black cuboid that was smashed towards Hotake Sakumo was instantly cut in half and smashed to the ground from both sides of Hotake Sakumo. Boom boom boom. The black cuboid that was cut in half smashed to the ground, and suddenly, a loud noise erupted, and for a while, the entire battlefield seemed to be shaking. Such a loud sound immediately attracted the attention of everyone who was fighting each other. 10,000 eyes, all focused on the dust. That is where Hotake Sakumo stood. Everyone knows that the time to win or lose this war has come. If Hotake Sakumo was defeated, or died in battle, undoubtedly, the morale of Sand Shinobi's army will definitely be boosted. On the other hand, Konoha's morale will plummet. The Konoha army, whose morale has plummeted, will be crushed one-sidedly in the face of Sand Shinobi's army, which is twice their size. Therefore, at this moment, everyone stopped fighting and turned their attention to this side. The entire battlefield fell into a strange silence for a while. A gust of wind blew through and blew the dust away. Immediately, everyone saw that half of the two huge cuboids were submerged in the sand, and in the crack between the two cuboids, a person slowly walked out. This person is none other than the White Fang of Konoha, Hotake Sakumo. Oh! Seeing Hotake Sakumo appearing intact, Konoha's ninjas burst into a thunderous cheer. Kill it! Long live Sakumo-sama! Kill all of Sand Shinobi's fools! Konoha's ninjas, with high morale, all faced Sand Shinobi again as if they had been beaten with blood. This fool is so strong. Chiyo looked at Hotake Sakumo who appeared intact, gritted his teeth, and said unwillingly. Ha! Sand Shinobi's strongest wind shadow is nothing more than that. Nara Shikaichi, who controlled the puppet with his shadow, smiled at Chiyo gnashing his teeth, and mocked. Chiyo heard the words, glared at Nara Shikaichi fiercely, and immediately, a mocking smile appeared on his face. Our Sand Shinobi's strongest Kazekage, I know very well, but your Konoha's strongest Hokage is not. Is it the strongest? It takes a few question marks. After all, Konoha's strongest Hokage, few people in the ninja world have seen him take action, right? How did this title come about? Did ninja school blow it out? Sarutobi Hiruzen pressed the strongest Hokage on his head without feeling ashamed. He is the strongest Hokage, so what is Senju Hashirama? Weakest Hokage, hehe. When Ino Shikacho heard the words, their faces were a little embarrassed, and he also felt embarrassed for Sarutobi Hiruzen about their Konoha's strongest Hokage. They are the patriarchs of various tribes, and they naturally know how much water the strongest Hokage in Sarutobi Hiruzen has. Looking at the embarrassed Ino Shikacho trio, Chiyo showed a disdainful smile on his face, and then, without a word, controlled the puppet again and killed the three of them. Third Kazekage looked at Hotake Sakumo who came out unscathed, frowned, raised his palm, and stretched it towards Hitachi Sakumo. You're really good. I really didn't expect that someone would practice swordsmanship to such a level, but... Say it. Third Kazekage raised his hand, and suddenly, countless iron sand flew out from the ground, and was cut in half by Hitachi Sakumo. The black cuboid that was submerged in the yellow sand also instantly turned into iron sand and fell on the ground, began to wriggle constantly. As the shadow of a village, not everyone can be provocative at will, then, pay the price for your stupidity now. Profound meaning. Third Kazekage waved his hand, and then, his hands clasped together, the chakra on his body crazily merged toward the ground. Magnet-style iron sand realm law sand sea funeral. Clap clap. With Hitachi Sakumo as the center, the ground began to churn, and the yellow sand was replaced by black iron sand. After a while, the original yellow desert turned into a black iron sand sea. The black iron sand sea, like the sea level, kept churning, and immediately after Third Kazecage's voice fell, the whole iron sand sea rose into the sky, drowning Hitachi Sakumo in it. Boom. Are you going out? Orochimaru looked at it with a solemn expression, the dust rising into the sky, without hesitation, put his thumb to his mouth and bit it, and then he stroked the palm of his right hand. Hi. Shu. You. Shen. Wei. Orochimaru's hands quickly formed a seal, and then pressed it against the ground. Summoning technique. Boom. A burst of white smoke enveloped Orochimaru, and then, a large purple snake came out of the smoke. This is the summoning beast of Orochimaru, the 10,000 snakes. At the same time, in front of Orochimaru, there was also a loud noise, and then, a fat giant civet cat with purple patterns on its body appeared in front of Orochimaru and 10,000 snakes. This is the one-tailed beast, Morizuru. Ahahaha. I'm finally out. Ahahaha. I finally came out. Ahaha, I'm free. A frantic laughter spread throughout the battlefield, and for a while, everyone looked towards this side. When Sand Shinobi's ninja saw the tall, fat tanuki, his pupils shrank, and his body began to tremble. This is one-tail Shukuru, it's been released. Oh my god. Shuhei ran wild, it broke the seal, withdraw, all retreat. Quick, all retreat. The moment the Sand Shinobi saw Morizuru, one by one, it was as if they had seen Shinigami, and they abandoned the Konoha Shinobi in front of them and evacuated the battlefield, trying to stay away from the tail beast. Has Shuhei broken the seal? Chiyo glanced in the direction of Morizuru and sighed slightly. Elder sister. Ebizo came to Chiyo with a look of sadness on his face. Chiyo shook his head, and then said, this is the last contribution made to Tsunade. You should also step back and prepare for the matter of sealing Shuhei. Hearing this, Ebizo just nodded, left the battle circle, and headed towards the retreating army of Sand Shinobi. Nara Luichi, who has been listening to the conversation between Chiyo and his brother, when he saw Ebizo, after leaving the battle circle, he pondered for a few seconds, and then his face changed greatly, and he yelled at Chiyo, Chiyo, you're playing with fire. Ha ha, playing with fire, maybe, Chiyo sneered, looking at Nara Shikaichi. Lu Yi, what's the matter? Isn't that one-tail Jinchuriki? Orochimaru-sama can hold it back. Akamaiki Dingping looked at the pale Lu Yi, full of puzzlement. In his opinion, isn't it Jinchuriki's runaway? It's not the first time they've met. Some time ago, Sand Shinobi's Jinchuriki also ran rampant frequently, so it wasn't that they stopped him. Yeah, Shikichi, isn't it Jinchuriki? Orochimaru can handle it. Yamanaka Ida also came to Lu Yi's side at this time and said. As soon as Naralu heard this, he shook his head with a wry smile. It's not the same, this is not Jinchuriki going berserk, but, it's the tailed beast breaking the seal. No, to be more precise, it was one-tailed Jinchuriki, who undid the seal by himself. Jinchuriki should have died at this time, so, the real one-tail Shuhei. Quote. What? Akamaiki Dingping, Yamanaka Ida, and Aoki suddenly changed their faces when they heard the words. Tail beast, is that the real tail beast? OMG, this is going to be a big deal. You must know that the real runaway tailed beast and the runaway tailed beast of Jinchuriki are completely different things. Jinchuriki ran wild. Even if it turned into a tailed beast, the tailed beast was still in a sealed state, and it did not fully come out, and its power would be suppressed. Even, because of Jinchuriki's will resistance, its strength would plummet by several %. After all, not everyone, Jinchuriki, is the same as Naruto and Killer Bee, who partner with tailed beasts. Usually tailed beasts and Jinchuriki are mutually hated beings. And now, Jinchuriki of one tail, since he had unsealed it, completely ran out. Sand Shinobi is this crazy? A tailed beast that has not been sealed is indistinguishable between us and enemies. Quickly let everyone retreat and stay away from the battlefield, Nara Shikaichi suddenly shouted to Aoki in a loud voice. Oh, okay. Aoki was stunned for a moment, then, thinking of the horror after the tailed beast ran away, he responded quickly. Retreat. Everyone evacuates the battlefield, stay away from the tailed beast, hurry up. Following Aoki's loud command, suddenly, the Konoha army, who had been stunned because of Sand Shinobi's sudden retreat, quickly recovered and quickly retreated in the direction of the main camp. However, at this time, a chakra ball with a radius of several meters and a high compression. Fly over here. It's over, it's tailed beast bomb. As soon as Naradir looked at the flying chakra ball, he slumped to the ground in despair. Back in time, the time of Orochimaru summoning snakes. When the white smoke cleared, Orochimaru stood on top of a giant purple snake. And this serpent is the summoning beast of Orochimaru, 10,000 serpents. Hiss. One snake slowly raised its hideous snake head, looked at Orochimaru standing on its head with a pair of shooting pupils, and said ferociously, Orochimaru, this time I want 200 sacrifices. Yes, I'll give you 1,000, as long as you kill the big guy in front of you. Orochimaru folded his arms and replied coldly. His relationship with Wanshi is not as harmonious as Jiraiya and Wentai. Rather than saying that Wanshi is his combat partner, it is better to say that it is just a relationship of trading and cooperation. He paid the sacrifice, and Wanshi helped him solve the trouble. It was just a transaction. Haha, Wanshi heard the words and said proudly, except for the stinky toad of Mount Myoboku, Katsuyu of Shibone Forest, and that mountain pepper fish, one snake, crushed all enemies. Humph. I want to see what kind of home you can offer in exchange for 1,000 sacrifices. Orochimaru, do you want to die? Let me deal with the tailed beast. One snake's arrogant words have not been finished yet. When it saw the fat civet cat that appeared in the smoke ahead, the whole snake's body tensed up. A tailed beast, moreover, it is still a complete body, a tailed beast that has not been sealed by Jinchuriki, this riding horse. Ahahaha. One tail Shuhei just broke the seal. It first burst into a frantic laugh, then, looking at the surrounding situation, and then looking at the largest target, the snake, and pointed out its fat and short claws. I didn't expect that I met the guy the first wanted to kill just after I came out, haha. Let's take your sloppy snake as a celebration of my freedom. Say it. On all fours, he charged towards one snake. Orochimaru, this time I want 1,500 sacrifices. Looking at the rushing Shuhei, Wanshi had to bite the bullet. Yes, Orochimaru has no objection to one snake's request. Anyway, it's a time of war, and there are so many people. Then, it's on. Hi. Wanshi heard the words, bowed, and greeted Shuhei. The two huge beasts collided in an instant. After one snake approached Shohei, he quickly turned a circle and avoided Shohei's claws. Then, the whole snake wrapped around Shohei's neck, bit down. My uncle hurts to death, Lippy Snake. Today, this uncle will kill you for the stewed snake soup. Being entangled by the huge body of the snake, and being bitten by the neck, Shuhei was immediately angry. He grabbed the snake body of one snake and pulled it hard. One snake was torn off directly, and a piece of Shuhei's flesh was bitten in its mouth. However, the fast meat quickly turned into sand and fell to the ground. On the neck of Shuhei, the big hole that was bitten by the snakes quickly recovered. Lazy snake, go to hell. Shuhei wheeled up the huge snake, turned it around a few times, and threw it towards the sky. Then, he opened his mouth to the snake in midair, and slapped his belly with his claws. Empty bomb. Wind-style. Refinement bullets. In Shuhei's mouth, the wind-style chakra quickly gathered, and then, an invisible air bomb shot out towards the 10,000 snakes in the air. Orochimaru. 10,000 snakes in midair, seeing this scene, hurriedly shouted. Seeing this, Orochimaru on the top of 10,000 snakes' head quickly formed a seal with his hands. Then, he took a deep breath and spit at the flying air. Water style. Hot metal bomb technique. Hey! A huge water bomb was ejected from Orochimaru's mouth, and immediately after, the water bomb quickly became larger and faced the air bomb. Boom! The water bomb collided with the air bomb and exploded instantly. Immediately, the whole sky seemed to be blown by a typhoon and rained, spreading to the surroundings. Boom! At this time, One Snake's huge body also fell to the ground. Wind style, refinement bullets. Sho Sururu saw that he was eating, slapped his belly again, and sprayed a second air bomb at One Snake. Hi! Wan Shi spit out the snake letter, and then slammed into the ground, escaping directly into the sand. Boom! Shuhei's air refining bomb hit the air and landed directly on a sand dune, directly blowing the sand dune flat. At the same time, the ground under Shuhei's feet quickly rose up with purple mists. Zizizi! These mists fell on Shuhei, and immediately, white smoke appeared from Shuhei. These purple mists are obviously highly poisonous snake venom, and they are highly corrosive, because at this time, these poisonous gases are corroding Shuhei's body. Disgusting stuff. Ahahaha. Shuhei waved his claws in disgust, and didn't mind the poisonous gas around him at all. Instead he laughed frantically again. You rascal snake, stupid snake, you don't know that I am called the Shuhei of Sand. Is it? The desert is my home ground. Ahahaha. Under the ground, One Snake, who was walking through the sand, was stunned for a moment when he heard the words, and then his expression changed, and he wanted to rush out from the ground. However, late. After Shuhei laughed wildly, his claws slammed into the sand under his feet. Sand waterfall burial. Boom boom boom. Immediately, the entire desert seemed to come alive, and began to wriggle, and then the entire desert shook. Ah! Boom! Beneath the desert, the pained screams of 10,000 snakes were heard, and then, a white smoke slowly rose from the ground. This. After the summoning beast was severely injured, it forcibly lifted the summoning technique and returned to the summoning world. Ahahaha. Shuhei saw this scene, patted on his stomach and laughed again. Cough cough. At this moment, there was a sound of coughing, and the figure of Orochimaru, not far in front of Shuhei, slowly floated up from the ground. Ha! Shuhei was obviously surprised when he saw that Orochimaru wasn't dead yet. You're a human being that isn't dead yet. Ha ha ha. Alright, this uncle will give you a ride in person. After saying that, he raised his paw towards Orochimaru and patted it. Earth style, yellow marsh. Facing Morizuru who was rushing towards him, Orochimaru made a seal with one hand. Immediately afterwards, the sand under Shuhei's feet quickly turned into mud, and it was still a wet swamp. Shuhei sank half of his body into the swamp, struggling to get out. Ninja, binding of 10,000 snakes. Orochimaru seals again, and then presses it toward the ground. Immediately afterwards, countless lion majesty rushed towards Shukaku like a tsunami. In a moment, Shuhei was covered with lion majesty, and these lion majesty were firmly bound in the swamp. Human, get these disgusting things out of me. Shukaku, who was bound by countless lion majesty, struggled constantly. However, his struggles did not play a role. Because these lion majesty are like a brown candy, after falling from it, it reassembles and traps it firmly. So, just wait for the sealing class to seal it. Cough. Looking at Morizuru who was trapped by the group of snakes, Orochimaru smiled. At the same time, there is some pride. This is a tailed beast. Moreover, it is still a complete tailed beast, which is trapped by him. He has the right to be proud. Cough cough. Orochimaru coughed again, blood spurting out of his mouth, his hands resting on the ground, and he didn't fall down. Obviously, he and One Snake had just been under the ground, and he also suffered a lot of injuries. Disgusting things, let this uncle die. However, at this time, a mutation appeared. I saw Shuhei, who was trapped by the group of snakes, roaring and opening his mouth, and then, a stream of chakra began to gather and compress. Not good. Feeling the gathering of the huge chakra, Orochimaru's face suddenly changed. At this time, the tailed beast bomb gathered by Shuhei was completed. After the tailed beast bomb was completed, it sprayed directly at his feet. Ah ha ha. Go to hell. Boom. Along with Shuhei's frantic laughter, a violent explosion sounded. The unpardonable lion majesty on Shuhei's body was burned to ashes under this high temperature. In the same way, Shuhei himself was devastated by his tailed beast bomb. However, it didn't care at all, because, here is the desert, it can recover anytime, anywhere. Ahahaha. Shuhei's body slowly recovered. Looking at Orochimaru lying on the ground not far ahead, he laughed madly again. Gudong gudong. At this moment, Orochimaru, who was lying softly on the ground, opened his mouth abruptly, and then, a pale hand stretched out from his mouth, and immediately, his head and body. After a short while, Orochimaru reappeared in front of Shukaku like a snake peeling its skin. Cough cough. Orochimaru, who was soaked all over, put his hands on the ground weakly, coughing up blood constantly. Fortunately, the snake sloughing technique has just been completed, otherwise the trouble will be big. Orochimaru looked up and looked at his Shuhei in a daze, as expected of a tailed beast. Even the aftermath of the explosion is so powerful. Disgusting human beings. Shuhei regained his senses and looked at the wet Orochimaru with disgust, returned to ashes. Ong. Shuhei opened his mouth again, and a wave of chakra gathered again. Seeing this, Orochimaru's face changed again. Immediately, he endured the internal injury, and his hands quickly formed a seal, and then he pressed against the ground. Summoning, triple Rashomon. Bang bang bang. In front of Orochimaru, 3 demon statues of Rashomon rose up. Go to hell. Whoa. Shukaku continuously aimed at Orochimaru, spraying several tailed beast bombs with a diameter of several meters. Boom boom boom. One by one tailed beast bomb bombed on Rashomon, and suddenly, bursts of loud noises erupted. Aha ha ha. All die. At this time, Shuhei has fallen into madness. It is like a cannon, constantly spraying small tailed beast bombs. It first bombs in the direction of Orochimaru, and then, looking at the dense crowd in the distance, it sprays tailed beast frantically. Bomb. Whoa, whoa, whoa. One by one tailed beast bomb, like cannonballs, flew towards the crowded place. Not good. It's over. It's tailed beast bomb. On Nara's side, he just ordered all the Konoha shinobi to retreat, and then he saw several chakra balls flying towards them. And one of them slammed straight towards them. This chakra ball has a diameter of 3 or 4 meters and is purple-black. It looks like a highly compressed chakra. This one blows down, covering a radius of tens of meters, and the center of the explosion, even a strong cage-level person, will be injured by the blast. Have you gone completely crazy? Haha, I won't play with you anymore. Chio looked at the tailed beast bomb that flew over, and looked at Nara and the others with a laugh. Then, she slowly turned into a puppet. Nara deer roared when he saw this, full of helplessness. Louis, Yamanaka Ida and Akamaiki Dingping came to Nara's side. Yamanaka Ida said, "It seems that the 3 old guys are going to explain this today." Who? Nara Lu looked at tailed beast bomb who was getting closer, exhaled, and calmed down. Yeah. However, when I went to the front line, I had already handed over the position of patriarch to my boy. There is no need to worry about the family. Hee. Me too. Yamanaka Ida smiled. Akamaiki Dingping looked at his 2 old friends, looking down on life and death, and walked slowly to the front. Dingping, Nara Shikichi and Yamanaka Ida were taken aback for a moment. Hee. 2 old guys, let me be your last meat shield. Akamaiki Dingping finished speaking, crossed his hands in front of him, and suddenly said violently, "Ninjutsu, super accompanying technique." Wong Wang. Akamaiki Dingping's body quickly grew larger, and in the blink of an eye, he turned into a giant with a height of more than 10 meters. Dingping, Nara Shikichi and Yamanaka Ida saw this, their eyes were red. They knew that Akamaiki Dingping was planning to use his body to help them resist tailed beast bomb, so that they could live. If it's just a tailed beast bomb, they can easily escape. However, facing the coverage bombing of several tailed beast bombs, they couldn't escape at all. Farewell, old folks. Akamaiki Dingping crossed his hands in front of him, looked at the several tailed beast bombs that were getting closer, and said his final goodbyes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. At this time, several tailed beast bombs had already flown, and 2 of them were about to hit Akamaiki Dingping. Dingping, Nara Shikichi and Yamanaka Ida roared in grief. Akamaiki Dingping closed his eyes resignedly at this time, but his hands were still folded in front of him. Boom 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 boom. The tailed beast bomb exploded, and suddenly, a loud explosion resounded throughout the battlefield. Cough cough. When the smoke cleared, Nara Shikichi and Yamanaka Ida hurriedly looked at Akamaiki Dingping. Dingping. At this time, Akamiki Dingping was still standing intact. When Naralu saw this, they were all stunned. When Akamiki Dingping's body slowly shrunk, they saw Akamiki Dingping in front of them, and they didn't know when there was one more person. Lord Sakumo. Looking at the back of the knife-wielding figure with white hair tied up, Naralu and the other three all exclaimed in surprise. This person is the White Fang of Konoha, Hotake Sakumo. At this time, Hotake Sakumo also turned to look at a few people. Suddenly, a few people saw Hotake Sakumo's embarrassed appearance. I saw Hotake Sakumo at this time. The clothes on his body were tattered, and under the tattered clothes were wounds that were still bleeding. They even saw that Hotake Sakumo's left hand showed a weird twisted state. Are you all okay? Cough cough. Hotake Sakumo looked at a few people and coughed up blood. We're all fine. Sakumo-sama, are you? Naralu stepped forward to support Hotake Sakumo and asked worriedly. I'm fine, but I misestimated third Kazecage's strength. He deserves the name of the strongest Kazekage. Hotake Sakumo shook his head and said. This. As soon as Naralu heard the words, he didn't know how to respond. Sand Shinobi really fought hard this time, alas. I'm afraid this time there will be heavy casualties. Hotake Sakumo looked at the tailed beast bomb flying all over the sky, and for a while, he was a little lost. As soon as Naralu heard the words, he also looked at the entire battlefield. I saw that on the battlefield at this time, tailed beast bombs compressed with high concentration, like cannonballs, flew towards the dense crowd. Some flew to the Konoha camp, and some flew to the Sand Shinobi army. It was an indiscriminate bombing. This, Naralu looked at a few tailed beast bombs flying towards the Konoha army, and said anxiously, Lord Sakumo, what should I do? Hotake Sakumo just shook his head, full of helplessness. He had just fought against third Kazekage, but he still underestimated third Kazecage's strength. Although he was not defeated, he also suffered a lot of injuries. With so many tailed beast bombs, what can he do? He is also very helpless. At this time, the Konoha army was completely chaotic, especially when they saw tailed beast bombs flying towards them, they all panicked. They are all old people on the battlefield, especially the old people on the Sand Shinobi battlefield. Sand Shinobi dispatched Jinchuriki early, so many people have seen tailed beast bomb and understand the power of tailed beast bomb. However, in the past, Jinchuriki ran wild. Even if there was a tailed beast bomb, it would only be 1 or 2. However, if there are 7 or 8 tailed beast bombs flying over today, how can it not be scary? Run, run, here's the tailed beast bomb. My god, how come there are so many tailed beast bombs? Is Sand Shinobi crazy? I don't know if Sand Shinobi is crazy, but I'm going crazy. Tailed beast bomb, that's tailed beast bomb. And there are so many. It's over, we're all over. Spread, spread all, don't lump together. Quick, those who know Earth Style Ninjutsu, use Earth Style Ninjutsu for defense. Earth Style, Earth Wall. Earth Style, Earth Flow Wall. Earth Style, boom 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 boom. Ah, ah. Among the panic-stricken Konoha Shinobi army, an Earth-style defense was organized. And at this moment, several tailed beast bombs fell into the crowd, and suddenly there were bursts of explosions and screams. Tailed beast bomb. Hee hee, it's my turn now. Behind the Konoha army, watching the tailed beast bomb bombarding indiscriminately on the battlefield, and the panicked Konoha shinobi, Ying said indifferently, tailed beast bomb. Hee hee, it's time to appear. From the beginning of the battlefield, Ying has been paying attention to the changes in the battlefield. One-tail Sakumo was completely berserk. He naturally saw it, and even Hotake Sakumo's fighting strength with third Kazekage, Hotake Sakumo was at a disadvantage, he also saw it. However, he didn't shoot, even though tailed beast bomb was already in the Konoha army, he still didn't shoot the explosion. He is not the virgin, nor is he a die-hard Konoha, nor is he the successor of the will of the bullshit fire. Now he has only one goal in life. That is to conquer the ninja world, complete the tasks of the system, become stronger, and go to see the heavens and the world. According to his layout, when his strength did not reach the point of crushing the ninja world, he would control Konoha in his own hands. And if he wants to control Konoha, he has to become Hokage. In the deep pool of Konoha, he is not a direct descendant of Sarutobi Hiruzen. If he wants to become Hokage, he needs a huge reputation. In exchange for the support of others. How can I get so much prestige? Naturally, it is to turn the tide of the battle and save everyone in the form of a savior. Therefore, Yiming has been holding back and did not shoot, waiting is now. Hey, if I have the strength to crush everything, why should I be so troublesome? Yiming sighed softly, his plan was nothing more than lack of strength. Otherwise, he doesn't want to force himself into an old yin. Lord Yiming, let's go. It's too dangerous here. At this time, a female ninja came to Yiming and said anxiously. This female ninja is Jonin from the medical department, and Yiming's deputy during this time. His name is Miko Yamada. She is a very beautiful woman with very good medical ninjutsu. Mako, take someone away first. Yiming looked at the young and beautiful Mizi with a smile. Lord Yiming, how can this be done? It's so dangerous here. Looking at Yiming's handsome face, he looked at her with a sunny smile, his pretty face blushed slightly, and then he said to Yiming anxiously. Is it dangerous? Maybe. Yiming turned to look at the battlefield, and immediately took a step. It's time for this war to end. At this moment, a tailed beast bomb flew towards Yiming. Ah! When Mizi saw the tailed beast bomb flying over, she immediately exclaimed, and immediately pulled Yiming back in a hurry. Lord Yiming, run quickly, tailed beast bomb is here, run quickly. However, Yiming, who Miko was pulling, was motionless, staring straight at the tailed beast bomb. Seeing that she couldn't pull Yiming, Mizi almost cried. Lord Yiming, let's go, it will be too late if you don't go. Mizi saw tailed beast bomb flew up, anxious like an ant on a hot pan. Haha, it's just a tailed beast bomb, and the tailed beast bomb of the one-tail Shuhei is far worse than the tailed beast bomb of 9 tails. Yiming smiled slightly, then, looking at man with a worried face, Mizi reached out and rubbed her head. Have you forgotten, I'm very powerful. After all, Yiming, under Mizi's stunned expression, broke away from Mizi and took his hand, turned around and rushed towards tailed beast bomb instead. Ah, Master Yiming. When Mizi saw Yiming, not only did she not hide from the tailed beast bomb, but instead rushed up to meet her, she was shocked and chased after Yiming. That silly girl. Yiming, who was rushing towards tailed beast bomb, turned his head and saw that Miko was chasing after him, and felt a little moved. After all, in the eyes of ordinary ninjas, tailed beast bomb represents Shinigami. And since Mizi was not afraid of Shinigami for him, and even followed him, she rushed towards Shinigami together, which shows her feelings for Yiming. Yes, it's Lord Yiming. Lord Yiming, run. That's tailed beast bomb, get out of the way. Oops, Lord Yiming is young, so he must not know the horror of tailed beast bomb. Ah, Lord Yiming, why did you run towards tailed beast bomb? Lord Yiming, it's dangerous. During this time, Yiming took over the medical department, so many ninjas in Konoha knew Yiming. However, because Yiming has been in the medical department during this time, everyone's impression is that he is a teenager who is not inferior to Tsunade in medical ninjutsu, but Yiming's record of being able to fight the demigods of the ninja world alone forgot. Therefore, the ninjas of Konoha saw that Yiming not only did not avoid tailed beast bomb, but turned his back towards tailed beast bomb, and stopped them one by one. Hehe, if it's the tailed beast bomb of 9 tails, maybe I'm a little apprehensive, but, tailed beast bomb of 1 tail Shuhei, hehe. Yiming ignored the kind reminder from the surrounding Konoha shinobi and continued to run towards tailed beast bomb. Yiming's running speed, coupled with the comfort of tailed beast bomb flying, shortened the distance in the blink of an eye. Oops, Lord Yiming is finished. Ah, oh my god, Lord Yiming. The Konoha shinobi fans who had dispersed, saw Yiming and tailed beast bomb collide with each other, and they all cried out in grief. Master Yiming. Mizi, who had been chasing Yiming, also saw this scene, her eyes suddenly cracked, and she cried out in pain towards Yiming's back. And Yiming looked at tailed beast bomb who was close at hand, the corner of his mouth raised slightly, and his right hand clenched a fist. Beep. A circle of milky white circles instantly covered his fist. Just show me the power of 1 tail. After saying that, Yiming jumped towards tailed beast bomb under everyone's exclaimed gaze. I saw Yiming jumping up, raising his fists high, and slamming towards tailed beast bomb. Duo. Crack clap clap. The moment Yiming's fist swung out, time seemed to have been hit by the pause button, and tailed beast bomb also seemed to be frozen, not moving forward. Immediately, under everyone's shocked gaze, the air was like a mirror, with cracks appearing. Immediately after, a shocking force wrapped the tailed beast bomb, and then it slammed backwards. Boom! The tailed beast bomb exploded, but the destructive power of the tailed beast bomb was completely dissipated by the power of the shock. Except for some smoke, there was no destructive power at all. Good. It's amazing. Oh my god. What did I see? Lord Yiming actually. My god. Lord Yiming actually knocked out the tailed beast bomb with one punch. Lord Yiming is too powerful, isn't he? Alas, how could I forget Lord Yiming's record? Lord Yiming was in the air a few years ago, but he was able to fight the demigods of the ninja world alone. Haha, we all only remember Lord Yiming's medical skills, but we all forget that Lord Yiming is also a strong man. Seeing Yiming's punch against tailed beast bomb, everyone was shocked at first, and then they all remembered Yiming's record, and suddenly, everyone burst into cheers. Yiming listened to the cheers of the people around him, the corners of his mouth rose slightly. This is the effect he wanted. Ah! Suddenly, a sharp exclamation sounded, everyone raised their eyes, and immediately, everyone's eyes and pupils shrank. I saw the horizon, 5 or 6 tailed beast bombs flew towards this side with terrifying coercion. Look, my god, it's over, so there are so many tailed beast bombs, is one tail's chakra endless? This is one tail totally going crazy, oh my god. It's hell. With so many tailed beast bombs, can Lord Yiming resist them? What nonsense are you talking about? There are so many tailed beast bombs, even Lord Sakumo would not dare to take it. Lord Yiming is still so young, how could he possibly take it? Then, what should we do? There are so many tailed beast bombs, covering such a large area, how do you hide? Wait, we're all done. Faced with such a large number of tailed beast bombs, they all flew here, and everyone was desperate. With so many tailed beast bombs covering such a large area, even if they are all ninjas, they cannot escape so fast. Master Yiming. Mizi also came to Yiming at this time. Yeah, Yiming nodded and looked at Mako with a warm smile. Are you afraid? When Mizi heard the words, she looked at the tailed beast bomb who was whistling, and then she saw Yiming who was full of sunny smiles, with a sweet smile on her face. Don't be afraid, to be able to die with Lord Yiming, Mizi, don't be afraid. Yiming looked at Mizi with a sweet smile, stretched out his hand and scratched her nose, then turned to look at the tailed beast bomb, who was flying over. He took a few steps forward and said slowly, Miko's smile is so beautiful, I'm reluctant to just disappear. Mizi stared at Yiming's back, a little lost. A blush appeared on the pretty face. At this time, Yiming didn't pay any more attention to Mizi. He looked at a few tailed beast bombs flying towards here, and he took a stance, then turned his body slightly to one side, clenched his fist with his right hand, and placed it on his left shoulder. Wong! Circle after circle of milky white light gathered on Yiming's fist. Yiming's eyes became sharper, staring straight at the tailed beast bomb that flew over. Merely tailed beast bomb, what can I do? Earthquake. Boom. Kakakakaka. Yiming's fist slammed into the air in front of him, and then, large cracks appeared. In an instant, a large net appeared in front of Yiming, covering the entire space in front of him. Boom. Time seemed to be paused for a few seconds, and then, a violent shock force, like an air cannon, rolled towards the tailed beast bombs. Where the power of shock passed, cracks appeared on the ground, and the earth began to shake. Boom 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 boom. The power of shock, like a violent storm, directly impacted the tailed beast bomb that was flying in. Suddenly, the tailed beast bomb in midair exploded like fireworks. Wow! The earth stopped shaking, and the smoke was blown away by the wind. Everyone looked at Yiming in a daze and didn't return to his senses. Gudong. In the distance, Naradir swallowed his saliva, looked away from Yiming, and looked at Hokage Sakumo. Lord Sakumo, is this Yiming's bloodline limit? The scene where Yiming intercepted the tailed beast bomb twice in a row just now was watched by the Ino Shikacho trio and Hokage Sakumo. They were not surprised that Yiming could intercept the next tailed beast bomb. After all, they were the ninja family of Konoha, and they had already learned about Yiming's information. However, the scene of Yiming intercepting several tailed beast bombs with one punch really shocked them. After all, even if they face tailed beast bomb, they can only run away or wait to die. Yeah, After Hitachi Sakumo was supported by Akamaiki Dingping and nodded, he said with satisfaction, "You must also have information on Yiming." He awakened the blood-based limit called Gen Dun, who was in the reign at the beginning. When I was in the country, I had some encounters with him, but it was the first time I saw his blood following the boundary. The blood following the limit of this ability is really terrifying. The power of vibration, I don't know, what kind of destructive power will it cause if it is released with all its strength? Is it comparable to a tailed beast? Quote, Hitachi Sakumo looked at Yiming with a gleam of light. Hearing the words, Nara Lui and the three looked at each other, and then a different light appeared in their eyes. Oh, since someone intercepted my tailed beast bomb. Shuhei, who was crazy and turned into a fort, also noticed the movement on Yiming's side at this time, and suddenly stopped the bombardment. And in front of it, where Orochimaru was just now, was already devastated. The Rashomon who came out of Orochimaru's summoning turned into a pile of scrap metal, and Orochimaru had disappeared. Interesting. Ahahaha. It's really interesting human beings, but powerful human beings are comfortable to kill, Shuhei said. He rushed towards Yiming's direction. Lord Kazekage, Shukaku has stopped attacking, and he is rushing towards the Konoha army. A sand shinobi came to Kazekage and said. Hearing this, third Kazekage glanced at the sand shinobi, and said in his heart, I am not blind. Still need your reminder. Watching Sho Crane running in the direction of the Konoha army, Kaz slowly retracted the iron sand covering sand shinobi. Just when Sho Crane ran wild and fired tailed beast bomb indiscriminately, their sand shinobi side was naturally not spared, but, all tailed beast bomb, all resisted by his control of iron sand. Funying, what are we going to do now? Retreat. Chio also came to Funying's side at this time, looked at Funying's appearance at this time, and asked. At this time, third Kazekage had broken clothes, a shallow knife mark on his neck, and a wound from his left shoulder to his right abdomen. Obviously, these scars were all caused by Hitachi Sakumo. Let's look at the situation again. Now that Shukaku is attacking Konoha's army, get ready for the SEAL squad. Once Shukaku defeats Konoha's ninjas, he will attack immediately, third Kazekage said solemnly. Okay, Chio nodded, agreeing with Kazekage's idea. On Yiming's side, when everyone saw the huge body of one-tail Shukaku, pressing down like a hill, everyone was shocked. Why did one tail come to us? Hurry up, hurry up. The completely unsealed tailed beast is simply too terrifying. What about the seal class? Let the seal class come over. The sealed class was killed by a falling tailed beast bomb when it just escaped. Where is the sealed class now? Then what should we do? Sakumo-sama was seriously injured by Kazekage, and Orochimaru-sama is missing. We can't deal with one tail at all. Who said no one can deal with one tail? Lord Yiming, even tailed beast bomb can be easily intercepted, he definitely can. That's right, Yiming is so powerful, he can definitely fight against one tail. The stage has been set up, now it's time for me to dance. Yiming listened to the Konoha shinobi around him and expected him, the corners of his mouth raised slightly, and he secretly said in his heart. Master Yiming. Mizi looked at Yiming with admiration on her face. The scene where Yiming punched the tailed beast bomb just now was really handsome. She really did not expect that Yiming, who is so excellent in medical ninjutsu, is so powerful that even tailed beast bomb can easily intercept him. Okay, Mizi, find a place to hide, I'll go play with that big civet cat. Yiming smiled at Mizi, and then walked slowly in the direction of Shuhei. Master Yiming. Mizi clasped her hands together and looked at Yiming's back. Daddy. The other side, Nara Lui watched Yiming slowly approaching Shuhei who was rushing towards him, then looked at Hitachi Sakumo and said, Lord Sakumo, if you were in your prime, if you were to deal with one tail, how sure would you be able to win? Hearing this, Hitachi Sakumo glanced at Nara Luichi. After a moment of contemplation, he said solemnly, if it were outside the desert, I would have 80%, but in the desert, it's less than 50%. As soon as Naralu heard the words, her brows furrowed, she looked at Yiming who was walking slowly towards Shuhei, and asked Hitachi Sakumo, Yiming's strength should be on par with Sakumo-sama, right? Yeah, Hitachi Sakumo nodded, then also looked in Yiming's direction and said, judging from the aura leaking from him, I'm about the same strength as him. Having said that, Hitachi Sakumo pondered for a moment, then continued, However, if the battlefield is head-on, I may not be his opponent. Nara Shikichi understood what Hotake Sakumo meant. Yi Ming's bloodline limit, attack range, and destructive power are too terrifying. And Hotake Sakumo practiced swordsmanship, focusing on surprises, one-shot kills. Yi Ming and Hotake Sakumo may have similar levels of strength, but on the frontal battlefield, Yi Ming's attack range is too large, and Hotake Sakumo is difficult to get close to. Therefore, on the frontal battlefield, Yi Ming has the best chance of winning. However, if it was an unexpected assassination, then Hotake Sakumo had the highest chance of killing Yi Ming. Even if Hotake Sakumo just assassinated Kazuki. If it wasn't for a head-on confrontation, maybe Kazekage's corpse was already cold. After all, Hotake Sakumo's sword was so fast that it was hard to avoid it by surprise. Woo! Naralu let out a long sigh, looked at Yi Ming's still immature face, and said with emotion, "We Konoha have another strong man. Besides, he is still so young, if he doesn't die." As soon as Naradir said this, he stopped talking and did not say any more. At the same time, Yi Ming also stopped at this time, and similarly, Shuhei, who was running over, also stopped. He looked at Yi Ming, who was not as big as his palm. Yi Ming also raised his head and looked at the tall, hill-like Shuhei. For a while, one big and one small, neither spoke nor acted, just stared at him like that. At this moment, both Konoha and Sand Shinobi's ninja army also closed their mouths one after another, and all of them looked at the big and small in the battlefield with breathless eyes. For a while, the entire battlefield fell into an eerie silence. Woo! A gust of wind blew past, blowing up the dust, and suddenly, the entire battlefield was filled with sand. And at this moment, Shuhei took the lead in launching an attack, and saw that it raised its huge claws and slapped Yi Ming fiercely. Boom! Shuhei's claws slapped directly on the sand, as if a cannonball exploded, and the sand exploded suddenly. However, Yi Ming at this time had dodged its blow and jumped towards it. Woo! Looking at Yi Ming, who jumped over to its head, Shuhei raised his other paw and patted Yi Ming in midair. Hey! Yi Ming, who was in midair, was directly photographed. Suddenly, the whole person flew out like a cannonball. Boom! Yi Ming landed on a sand dune, and suddenly, another burst of dust flew up. Master Yi Ming. Seeing this, Mizi in the distance immediately shouted out in worry. Lord Yi Ming will be fine, right? The ninjas of Konoha also showed worried expressions. However, Hotake Sakumo and Narakaichi and the others frowned and did not speak. Lord Third Kazekage, isn't that Konoha's supernova just like that? I thought how powerful it was, but has it been slapped by Morizuru? Ha ha, in this way, Konoha will have no one to stop Morizuru, and we will win. Quote. Sand Shinobi Jonin next to Third Kazekage was overjoyed when he saw Yi Ming being photographed in the sand. Idiot, Chio looked at the Sand Shinobi Jonin and scolded disdainfully. When the Jonin heard the words, his face froze, but he didn't dare to refute Chio's position. Feng Ying glanced at the Jonin, and although he didn't speak, the meaning in his eyes was similar to Chio. This made the Jonin even more depressed, wasn't he right? Come out, that Konoha shinobi came out. Since he's all right, how is this possible? God, hit by Shuhei, since nothing happened, what kind of monster is this? At this moment, the surrounding Sand Shinobi exclaimed. When the Sand Shinobi Jonin heard the words, he hurriedly looked in Yi Ming's direction. I saw the smoke dissipated, and a figure slowly walked out. Isn't this Yi Ming? Who else could it be? Yi Ming, who came out of the smoke, twisted his neck, as if he had just made a big sword, looked at Shuhei comfortably and said, One-tail Shuhei's power is just that. It's like giving me a massage, it's comfortable. Now Yi Ming is permanently in the state of 8 inner gates. In addition, he was originally a practitioner of taijutsu, and his physical strength is stronger than that of ordinary ninjas, I don't know how much stronger. After possessing the power of shock fruit, he has been using the power of shock to exercise his body. Therefore, Yi Ming's physical strength at this time is so pervert, Yi Ming himself does not know. Human, don't be complacent, die. Shohei, who was already a little nervous, couldn't stand Yi Ming's words. After hearing this, he became furious, raised his paws at Yi Ming again, and patted Yi Ming. Then, the second round, start. Woo! Facing Shohei's claws, Yi Ming smiled slightly, then with a solemn expression, he jumped to meet Shohei's claws. This wave of Yi Ming's actions, in the eyes of others, is that Yi Ming couldn't wait to court death, so he slammed into Shuhei's claws. Ahahaha, stupid humans, die. Shuhei saw that Yi Ming not only did not dodge his fist, but reacted to greet him. He immediately laughed wildly, patted Yi Ming's paw, and added a little strength again. Hee, stupid. Yi Ming smiled coldly, his right hand clenched his fist, and then, circles of milky white light covered him. When Yi Ming and Shuhei's claws were less than 5 meters away, Yi Ming slammed his fists towards Shuhei's claws. Ong! The milky white light on Yi Ming's fist collided with Shuhei's claws. Originally, the people around thought that a loud noise would erupt when the two collided. However, when Yi Ming's fist and Shuhei's claws collided, the two seemed to have been pressed the pause button, and they were both stunned. Amid everyone's doubts, Yi Ming and Shohei maintained such an action for a few seconds. Crack clap clap. In everyone's ears, there was a sound of the mirror shattering. Immediately afterwards, everyone was shocked to find that there were cracks in front of Yi Ming's fist, like a spider web, covering all of Shuhei's claws. Boom! A huge explosion sounded, the ground shook for a while, and a stream of sand and dust enveloped Yi Ming and Shuhei. At this moment, whether it was Konoha's crowd or Sand Shinobi's ninja, they all stretched their necks and looked intently into the dust, wanting to spy on the battle inside. Ah, it hurts my uncle to death. At this moment, a painful cry of sorrow passed into everyone's ears. The dust is gone. Everyone was shocked to find that Shuhei at this time, since he lost a paw, was rolling on the ground with his broken arm. Yi Ming, on the other hand, stood silently by the side, watching Shuhei who was tumbling on the ground and wailing. Gudong. Seeing this scene, everyone swallowed their saliva. Unexpectedly, Yi Ming smashed Shuhei's paw with one punch. This is too strong. Ah, human, you hurt my uncle, I want to eat you. Shohei, who kept rolling over, jumped up abruptly, opened his huge mouth at Yi Ming, and bit Yi Ming. Humph. Seeing this, Yi Ming clenched his fists again, and slammed it towards Shuhei's head. Crack clap. Boom. A shock wave pushed towards Shuhei horizontally, and the ferocious force, which was directly on the huge Shuhei body, was sent flying. Ah! Shuhei flew upside down in the air, let out a scream, and then landed on the sand. On the other hand, Yi Ming chased after the victory, jumped directly, came to the sky above Shuhei, and then stepped on the Shuhei below. Doo-doo. The moment Yi Ming stepped on his feet, a circle of vibrational power gathered on his right foot, forming a circle of white halo. Boom! Yi Ming's right foot directly stepped on Shuhei's head, but the sole of Yi Ming's foot did not touch Shuhei, but the milky white halo on his foot directly pressed on Shuhei. Crane's head. Immediately, a cobweb-like crack formed under Yi Ming's feet, and then, sand and dust rose into the sky, accompanied by a shock wave, sweeping away in all directions. Everyone around them resisted the blowing dust with their hands. When everyone looked at the center of the battlefield again, they saw Yi Ming again, jumped into the air again, and then, condensed the power of shock again, and immediately stepped on it violently. Boom boom boom. In the next few minutes, Konoha and Sand Shinobi more than 10,000 people saw that Yi Ming seemed to be looking for fun, jumping on the bed, jumping up, stepping down, and jumping up again and again, and it was a good time. Happy. It's just that Yi Ming's play was a bit loud. Every time he fell, it seemed like a cannonball exploded. There was a sound of explosion, and a stream of sand and dust blew in all directions. For a time, whether it was Konoha or Sand Shinobi's ninjas, they were all approved for the yellow sand. Gudong. Everyone looked at Yi Ming who was up and down, and they all swallowed, feeling that their throats were a little dry. So brutal, so violent. This is the first time everyone has seen. Yi Ming's fighting style is simple and crude, with one punch and one kick, and has the destructive power of destroying the world. This made the ninjas, who had always used ninjutsu as their main fighting method, stunned, and couldn't come back to their senses for a long time. Lord Sakumo, is this Yi Ming's bloodline limit? This is 2.2, Nara Louis stuttered as he watched Yi Ming play, jump the bed. I don't know how to describe it. It's a perfect bloodline, isn't it? Before Hokage Sakumo could speak, a low, hoarse voice came over. Nara deer and a few people were stunned for a while, and then they looked at the place where the voice was transmitted, and then they saw that Orochimaru came slowly from behind them at some point. However, Orochimaru's eyes never left Yiming's body. It's the perfect bloodline limit. Whether it's destructive power or attack power, it has reached the ultimate, and Yiming-jun's body is also different from ordinary taijutsu ninjas. His body strength can actually ignore the tail beast's attack. Ultimate's attack power, devastating destructive power, and the physical defense power that can resist the attack of tailed beasts unscathed. His body is so perfect. Quote, Orochimaru looked at Yiming frantically, as if an idiot saw a beautiful woman, with Yiming's figure in his eyes. Ah, the trio of Ino Shikacho looked at Orochimaru, who was full of enthusiasm and felt a little chill. Then, they looked at each other. Narashika looked at Orochimaru and said, Orochimaru, are you all right? Naturally, Nara Shikaichi asked if Orochimaru was injured. After all, Orochimaru was fighting against Morizaru just now. Hearing this, Orochimaru retracted his gaze reluctantly, looked at Hitachi Sakumo, Nara Shikaichi and the others and shook their heads. I got some injuries, but it's nothing. Say it. Orochimaru looked at Hitachi Sakumo, and then in Sand Shinobi's direction. Hitachi-senpai, aren't we making some preparations? Those people over there are just waiting and swallowing us in one breath. Hitachi Sakumo heard the words and also looked in Sand Shinobi's direction. Boom boom boom. Yiming stepped on Shuhei for 3 or 4 minutes, then stopped. And when Yiming stopped, the eyes of countless people all turned to the place Yiming had just stepped on. I saw that the place Yiming stepped on, that is, where Shuhei was just now, had turned into a huge sand pit. Shuhei was lying in the pit, but Shuhei's head was gone. Hi, One Tail's head is gone. Could it be that it was stomped on by Lord Yiming? So scary, so powerful, so violent, I like it so much. Ah, long live Lord Yiming. Lord Yiming is amazing. Lord Yiming, I love you. Haha, One Tail was killed by Lord Yiming. We Konoha won, long live Lord Yiming. Impossible. How is this possible? Shuhei is our Tsunagaku's ultimate weapon. How could it be killed? This is impossible, absolutely impossible. Illusion, this must be an illusion. That is Shuhei, that is a tailed beast, how could it be defeated by a human? Even Lord Fengying can only restrain Shuhei, how can that guy kill Shuhei? It's impossible, absolutely impossible. Oh my god, Konoha's supernova actually killed Shukaku. Who else in our Tsunagaku can fight that guy? Looking at the headless corpse of Shukaku in the pit, whether it was Konoha's ninja or Sand Shinobi's ninja, they all boiled. However, the difference is that the ninjas on Konoha's side smiled and cheered loudly. On Sand Shinobi's side, everyone couldn't believe it. When they looked at Yiming, their faces were full of fear. That is the one-tail Shuhei, that is the tailed beast. All the ninjas in Tsunagaku clearly understand how terrifying Shuhei really is. And even they Tsunagaku, known as the strongest Kazekage, when facing Shuhei, he could barely restrain him, and could not kill him. Now, since Shuhei was killed by one person, how can this make everyone in Tsunagaku not feel the fear? Oh, Shuhei is not so easy to kill, especially, this is a desert. Listening to the exclamations of the people around him, a smile appeared on Third Kazecage's face, and he muttered to himself in a low voice. In the pit, Yiming looked at Shohei, who had lost his head, and walked slowly to Shohei's headless corpse, stretched out his hand into a claw, grabbed Shohei's corpse, and said lightly, "Come out. Although you are the weakest. A tailed beast, but it is also a tailed beast, isn't it? How could it be so easy to be killed by someone?" After all, Yiming grabbed the hand of Shuhei's corpse and squeezed it hard. Boom. Wow. Shuhei's huge body suddenly exploded, turning into grains of sand and scattered on the ground. Rustle. At the same time, the sand in the entire big pit began to move as if it had come to life. Yiming frowned, and then, the whole person rose to the sky. And just as Yiming was flying, a giant hand made of sand stretched out from the position Yiming had just stood on, and then grabbed it. It is conceivable that if he hadn't left just now, he would definitely have been caught by this giant hand of sand. Human, what did you just say? You said that this uncle is the weakest tailed beast. In the sandy ground, countless sands suddenly appeared, and then, these sands combined into a huge civet cat. This is one-tail Shukaku. Oh, Am I right? Yiming fell to the ground and looked at Shuhei, who glared at him and said, I have heard a legend that when Sage of Six Paths created the tailed beast, there were a total of the chakra of 12. Sage of Six Paths divided this big chakra into 9 parts, but when it was divided like this: 1 tail, 9 tails, second tail, 9 tails, 1 for 3 tails, 1 for 9 tails, and so on. You see, for every cent, you get 1 more for 9 tails. And each tailed beast has a different number of tails. Can I think that the strength of the tailed beast is closely related to the number of tails of the tailed beast? That is to say, the 9 tails are the strongest, and you. Tisk. Say it. Yiming looked at Shohei with a look of contempt. Is this Yiming telling the truth? In the distance, since they are all ninjas, their hearing is naturally perceived, and they are naturally stronger than ordinary people. Therefore, Yiming's words were transmitted to everyone's ears with incomparable clarity. After Chiyo heard Yiming's words, she looked at Kazekage in disbelief. Feng Ying frowned and said suspiciously, maybe it's true, right? Isn't our Tsunade at a loss? Shuhei is the weakest tailed beast, and our Tsunade only has the one-tailed beast, Shuhei, or the weakest tailed beast. Before Chiyo and the others spoke, San Shinobi Jonin, who was beside Kazekage, couldn't help but swear. Chiyo, Kazuki and the others all stared at San Shinobi. Kazuki even frowned. Mada, shut up. Ah, Kazuki-sama, am I right? Also, why is Kazuki-sama scolding me? That San Shinobi looked at Kazuki blankly. Feng Ying heard the words, with black lines all over his forehead. After taking a deep breath, he looked at him and said, I didn't scold you, isn't your name Mad? Aha, my name is indeed Mada. It turns out that Lord Feng Ying is not scolding me, alas. Really, it's all my father's fault. How did he give me such a name? Mada complained in a low voice. Feng Ying resisted the urge to shoot this guy to death and turned his gaze towards Yiming. If this guy wasn't from Tsunagaku's ninja clan, or the ninja clan that supported him, how could he keep this guy by his side as a Kazekage guard? Lord Sakumo, what do you think of Yiming's words? Nara frowned and looked at Hokage Sakumo. Yiming's words just now revealed some big news. Although these ninjas all know that 9 Tails is the strongest tailed beast, it is the first time they have heard of the saying that Sage of Six Paths created the 9 Tails. This is the first time I've heard of this statement, and I'm not sure, maybe Yiming is playing with one tail on purpose. Hokage Sakumo frowned, thought for a moment, and then replied. Is it really a joke? Naraluyi looked in Yiming's direction and fell into deep thought. And Orochimaru on the side, looking at Yiming, became even more frenzied. Looks like Mr. Yiming seems to know something interesting. And when everyone's eyes were on Yiming and Shuhei, they were all speculating about Yiming's words. On a remote sand dune, a pitcher plant composed of black Zetsu and white Zetsu was looking at Yiming in disbelief. Hey, Black Zetsu, did you hear that guy? He actually knew that the tail beast was created by Sage of Six Paths. How did he know? Also, what does he know? He won't know about you. Does he exist? He wouldn't know that Ben was alive, would he? He wouldn't know. White Zetsu, shut up. Black Zetsu, who shares the same body with White Zetsu, listened to White Zetsu's question like a machine gun, and immediately couldn't help but scold. Why are you so fierce? White Zetsu said aggrieved. Black Zetsu ignored this guy. Yiming's eyes were straight, and countless thoughts flashed in his eyes. After a while, Black Zetsu said to White Zetsu, you watch here, I'll go to Madara's place. Having said that, without waiting for White Zetsu to reply, he sank directly into the ground. Hey, why did you just leave? Don't leave me alone, I'm so afraid of myself. Ah, human, what did you say? You actually said that I'm not as good as that stinky fox. This uncle will definitely kill you. After Shuhei heard what he said, his anger rose to the sky. Among the 9-tailed beasts, it hates the 9 tails the most, and is also the most dissatisfied with the 9 tails. Now Yiming said that it is not as good as the 9 tails. How can this make Shuhei not angry? I was told, and became angry. Yiming laughed when he saw this. Human. Seeing Yiming's appearance, Shuhei was even more furious, and pressed his paws to the ground. Sand Sea Funeral. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The whole desert seemed to come alive. The forbidden sand kept churning like the ocean. Call out. A sand wave shot towards Yiming. Whoosh. Yiming turned sideways and dodged the sand wave with one jump. However, this sand wave seems to be just a signal. The surrounding sand is churning, and one after another, the sand waves are strangling towards Yiming from all directions. Seeing this, Yiming is not running away. After all, there was sand everywhere now, and he couldn't avoid it either. I saw my hands crossed in front of me, and a circle of vibrations covered my fists. Immediately afterwards, Yiming's fists slammed toward both sides. Beep, beep, crack, clap, clap. The air around Yiming was blown up one after another, and cracks appeared. These cracks were surrounded by a huge net that wrapped Yiming inside. Brush, brush. At this time, those sand waves also surrounded and killed. Ong. However, at this moment, a milky white halo suddenly appeared around Yiming, and the halo continued to expand. Boom. The milky white halo turned into a huge hood, spreading in all directions. In an instant, countless sand waves strangling towards Yiming all collapsed under this hood. How can a human being have such a powerful power? Besides, this guy obviously doesn't have that kind of bloodline, so why is he so strong? What kind of power is this? Watching its attack, Shuhei was easily cracked by Yiming, and at the same time, his heart was full of anger. I saw it facing Yiming's position and stretched out its claws. Swipe. Countless sands turned into big hands and grabbed them towards Yiming. Hey! Yiming rushed out of the sand and rushed towards Shuhei directly. Along the way, a big hand made of sand tried to grab Yiming. However, these big hands were either easily dodged by Yiming, or broken up by Yiming's violent punch. After a moment of effort, Yiming came to Shuhei's face. Without much nonsense, he raised his fist covered with the power of vibration, and slammed it towards Shuhei's face. Crack, clap. The familiar sound of air breaking sounded, and then, a violent vibrational force crushed Shuhei. Ah, wow. Shuhei screamed again. Why say it again? Immediately afterwards, Shuhei's huge body, under the force of this violent vibration, was instantly beaten into sand and scattered on the ground. Human, you are unforgivable. This time, Shuhei condensed very quickly, and within a few seconds of Yiming breaking it, it condensed and formed again, but its body seemed to be much shorter than before. And when Shuhei condensed and formed again, it stopped manipulating sand to deal with Yiming. Maybe it also knows that manipulating sand has no effect on Yiming. As soon as it was condensed and formed, it opened a huge mouth to Yiming. Of course, Shuhei didn't want to bite Yiming, but after opening his huge mouth, white rays of light continued to gather in his mouth. Does it belong to One-Tail's virtual dog cannon? Yiming frowned at the wind-style chakra that kept gathering in Shuhei's mouth. Immediately understood what it was going to do. Forget it. One move determines the outcome. Yiming took a horse step, his hands became claws, and he grabbed the air in front of the right. Zizi. Yiming's fingers grabbed the air one after another and made a sound of grinding his teeth. And the air in front of him seemed to have turned into a transparent plastic sheet, which became a little wrinkled when Yiming grabbed it. Wong wang. The wind-style energy in Shuhei's mouth gathered more and more, and the white light in his mouth became brighter and brighter. And all the powerhouses who watched this scene from a distance changed their expressions. Because, at this time, the energy gathered by Shuhei is really terrifying. Especially the ninjas on Tsunagaku's side. When they saw the appearance of Shuhei, some elderly ninjas were so frightened that they slumped on the ground, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. Chio, 3rd Kazekage and other senior Sand Shinobi leaders, their expressions changed dramatically. Kazekage turned sharply, looked at the Sand Shinobi army, and commanded loudly, "Quick, everyone organizes defenses, all cheer up and organize defenses." After Feng Ying finished his words eagerly, he frantically urged chakra, activated his magnet style, and extracted layers of iron sand from the depths. People are wrapped in it. In fact, I don't blame the people in Tsunagaku for being so nervous and scared. It's all because Shukaku used this trick to almost blow up the entire Tsunagaku. Therefore, everyone in Tsunagaku, including Feng Ying, saw that Shuhei was going to launch this terrifying trick again. Even if they didn't deal with it directly, they also organized defenses in order to bring disaster to Chiyu. And Konoha here. Although Konoha's people had not experienced the bombing of the virtual dog cannon, Hitachi Sakumo and others felt the terror of the gathering of the guardian cranes, chakra. Seeing Sand Shinobi's side again, Panicked, Hokage Sakumo and the others did not dare to be careless, and at the same time ordered the Konoha group to organize a defense. And at this moment, Shuhei's virtual dog cannons were assembled. Human, turn this uncle into dust. Wong, boom. Shuhei raised his head slightly, and then, the terrifying wind-style energy chakra turned into a huge white light, carrying terrifying power, and sprayed towards Yi Ming. Good come. Seeing this, Yi Ming was not surprised but delighted, only to see his hands grabbing the air and pulling down. Boom. The whole world seemed to be turned upside down by Yi Ming's pull. The earth did not start to shake, cracks appeared on the earth, and sand flowed into the cracks one after another. And Shuhei's virtual dog cannon was also pulled by Yi Ming. The false dog cannon, which was originally charging at Yi Ming, turned a corner and charged towards Shuhei himself. Nani? Chapter 51. Shuhei, who was continuously releasing the virtual dog cannon, suddenly saw his virtual dog cannon. Since he turned a corner and charged towards him, the whole beast was stunned. Seeing this scene, not only he was stunned. Third Kazekage, Chiyo, Ebizo, Hokage Sakumo, Orochimaru, Narukaichi and others, all of them had question marks on their foreheads. What shape is this? After a long time, the feeling is that you want to commit suicide. The tailed beast wants to commit suicide. This horse riding is too exciting. However, he didn't wait for everyone to come back to his senses, and he didn't wait for Shuhei to come back to his senses from being stunned. The virtual dog cannon that Shuhei sprayed out directly hit him. I saw a dazzling white light flashing, and then, boom, a mushroom cloud was temporarily released in the desert, and then, a loud, earth-shattering noise spread in all directions, and the terrifying shock wave was accompanied by this loud noise. How is this possible? Is this the destructive power of the tailed beast? It's scary. God, the terrain has been changed, the desert has turned into a lake, is it? Has it destroyed the low river? Terror, it's really scary, one tail is so scary, if it's 9 tails, the strongest tailed beast, then. When the shock wave gradually disappeared, the sand and dust were slowly blown away, whether it was Sand Shinobi or Konoha's ninja, they all looked at the scene in shock. I saw that in front of them, the original desert scene turned into a huge deep pit at this time, and at the bottom of the deep pit, a large amount of spring water was sprayed. Obviously, the explosion just now, the power of its explosion, has hit the depth of the underground river. With such a large amount of water, I believe that in the near future, this place will become a large oasis in the desert. Is this the power of the tail beast? It's really scary. Orochimaru looked at the scene where the terrain was completely changed under One Tail's virtual dog cannon. He, who had not yet become a mad scientist in later generations, also showed a look of shock on his face, and then he licked his lips a little frantically, so terrifying. Since I can't help Yi Ming-jun, I'm more and more interested in Yi Ming-jun's bloodline and his body. Orochimaru's words were very low, and Hokage Sakumo and the others who were beside him did not hear them. However, at this time, Hokage Sakumo and Ino Shikacho all looked at the scene in front of them and fell silent. After a while, Nara Lui muttered to himself, One Tail has such destructive power, if 9 tails, the strongest tailed beast, comes here in Konoha. Hi, Nara Shikaichi didn't lower his voice, Hokage Sakumo and others could hear him, so even Hokage Sakumo was in a cold sweat at this time. If 9 tails were to do this in Konoha, not to mention whether the power would be greater than that of One Tail, just with the same level of power, Konoha would have been lost by a third. Luichi, you think too much, we Konoha have Lord Hokage in charge. Even if 9 tails is broken, Lord Hokage will definitely be able to suppress it. After all, Lord Hokage is the strongest Hokage. Hokage Sakumo Aoki, the captain of the sharp team, came to Lu Yi at this time and retorted. Nara Lu glanced at Aoki and didn't go to Dolly. I know that although this guy is good, he is a civilian ninja and has been brainwashed by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Ah, the strongest Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Still dealing with 9 tails. It's not that Nara dear looks down on Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen is a powerful, 5-element ninjutsu. However, how would Sarutobi Hiruzen deal with a tailed beast with powerful destructive power and no physicality? Did he think he was Senju Hashirama? Therefore, according to the strength of Sarutobi Hiruzen and the strength of the tailed beast, Nara Shikaichi analyzed and estimated that if Sarutobi Hiruzen faced 9 tails, there was no other way but to use the sealing technique. And even if the sealing technique is used, it must pay a painful price. Hotake Sakumo listened to Nara Shikaichi's words, and heard the rebuttals from his subordinates. He didn't speak from the beginning to the end, and looked directly at the battlefield. Boom! At this moment, the bottom of the big pit in front suddenly burst, and then, a huge water ball slowly lifted into the air. Is this the water prison technique? Look, there is something in the water prison. Yes, it's one-tail Shukaku, it's trapped. Lord Yi Ming, it must be Lord Yi Ming who caught the one-tail Shuhei, haha. Tsunagaku's tailed beast was caught by our Konoha, I see how Sand Shinobi will fight. It seems that the war is coming to an end, and we won. Oh, the ninjas of Konoha looked at the huge water polo that slowly lifted into the air and flew towards them. After seeing the struggling Shukaku in the water polo again, all of Konoha's ninjas suddenly boiled. After returning to Konoha, be sure to ask Kushina for advice on sealing techniques, otherwise, the next time you encounter a tailed beast, even if you defeat it, you won't know how to catch it. Beneath the huge water polo, Yi Ming raised his hand and kept sending chakra towards the water polo in midair. He thought to himself while walking towards the Konoha army. The tailed beast is an insubstantial product of chakra. To deal with the tailed beast, besides killing it directly, you can only seal him. And although Yi Ming can kill Shuhei with the shock escape, it doesn't make much sense. After killing it, it will be resurrected after a few decades. Also, killing Shukaku would do him no good. However, he didn't understand the sealing technique, so he couldn't catch Shuhei at all. Fortunately, Shuhei's virtual dog cannon blasted the underground river and turned it into a lake, which gave Yi Ming the power to temporarily trap Shuhei. However, Yi Ming also decided that he must learn the sealing technique. Master Yi Ming. Yi Ming was thinking about learning the seal art after returning to Konoha, and before he knew it, he had already arrived in front of the Konoha army. And it was Miko who was the first to meet him. Looking at Mizi, whose eyes were full of little stars, Yi Ming smiled and nodded to her. Then, he looked at Hotake Sakumo, who came over. Senior Hotake, I don't know sealing technique, water prison technique, only temporarily control Shuhei, and please organize people to seal it. Hotake Sakumo nodded, then looked at the army of ninjas and said, water-style ninjas came out, maintained the water prison technique, and took over Shukaku. In addition, let someone notify the rear immediately and ask them to organize a seal class and come to support immediately. Yes, the ninjas in the Konoha army responded one after another. Immediately afterwards, more than 100 water-style ninjas displayed water-style and maintained the water prison technique, and several more people rushed towards the country of the river. Good work. After arranging everything, Hotake Sakumo looked at Yi Ming. Yi Ming shook his head, then looked in Sand Shinobi's direction. The war is not over yet, the next step is to see what Sand Shinobi will do. When Hotake Sakumo and the others heard this, they all turned their attention to Sand Shinobi's direction. At this time, Sand Shinobi clearly saw Shukaku being arrested, and Sand Shinobi's army, led by Kazekage, was heading towards them. All alert, ready to fight. Seeing Sand Shinobi, led by Kazekage, aggressively marching towards the Sand Shinobi army coming towards them, Hotake Sakumo waved his hand and gave the order to prepare for battle. And many more. But at this moment, Yi Ming spoke out. When everyone heard this, they all looked at Yi Ming, and even Hotake Sakumo looked at Yi Ming suspiciously. Oh, does Yi Ming have any plans? Orochimaru looked at Yi Ming with interest. Yi Ming glanced at the increasingly disgusting Orochimaru, looked at Hotake Sakumo and said, leave the next battle to me. Master Yi Ming, Mizi exclaimed in surprise. Everyone around who heard Yi Ming's words also looked at Yi Ming in disbelief. What did they hear? Since Lord Yi Ming said, the next war will be handed over to him. Isn't this a bit of a rhetoric? You know, there are thousands of Sand Shinobi troops on the opposite side. In addition, there are many masters such as Kazekage and Chio, even if the individual strength is not the same as one-tail Shukaku, but this together, the nature is completely different. Yes, the tailed beast is powerful, but no matter how powerful the tailed beast is, in the face of thousands of troops who have been prepared, it can only be sealed. Otherwise, Jinchuriki would not have been born. And since Lord Yiming said that he would face Sand Shinobi's army and Kazekage alone. Isn't this too self-indulgent? Hatake Sakumo frowned when he heard Yiming's words, staring straight at Yiming. Are you sure? Sure, Yiming nodded and replied solemnly. He naturally has his own considerations. Jokingly, he just shot to gain reputation and make thousands of Konoha shinobi hero his favor. This just put Shuhei dry on the ground. If Sand Shinobi is forced to surrender again, how much will he change in the hearts of these Konoha shinobi? Yiming, you just finished dealing with one tail. Are you really sure that you can deal with the Sand Shinobi army alone? You know, although third Kazekage was injured by me, its strength is still there. Hatake Sakumo goes straight looking at Yiming, he asked again. All the Konoha shinobi around also looked at Yiming. Yiming continued to nod his head, and walked in the direction of Sand Shinobi's army. Konoha's ninjas, as well as Hatake Sakumo and other senior Konoha leaders, were all installed by Yiming's wave, and all of them were collectively speechless. Master Yiming. Mizi clasped her hands together tightly, her eyes shining brightly at Yiming's back. After seeing Yiming dealing with one tail just now, she already has confidence in Yiming's strength. As this be pretending to be a bit too much? Alas, it's still influenced by Madara. Yiming, who was walking slowly towards Sand Shinobi's army, threw the blame to the white-haired Master Ban, thinking of the B words he had just blurted out. Who made Yiming impressed by Hoki's leaked B words during the Fourth Ninja World War? Yiming, Kimura Yiming, the supernova of Konoha. 3 years ago, in the Land of Rain, he killed the Sancho fish and fought Hanzo alone. Today, he defeated my Tsunade's tailed beast alone and captured it. Konoha is really the cradle of genius. Feng Ying stopped the army and brought Chiyo and his brother to a few dozen meters away from Yiming. Looking at Yiming, who was too young, third Kazekage couldn't help but sigh. So, are you guys going to descend? Yiming's deep eyes, looking at third Kazekage, said lightly. Surrender. Third Kazekage suddenly laughed when he heard the words. I admit, your strength is very strong, and even, in your age group, there has never been a monster like you in the entire ninja world. You, the limit of blood, whether it is destructive power or attack power, is one of the few in the ninja world, but... Third Kazekage said this, the smile on his face faded, and he stared straight at Yiming. In your current state, if you dare to fight alone to face my Sand Shinobi thousands of troops, you will take my Sand Shinobi ninjas. What do you think it is? What do you think of me, the shadow of Sand Shinobi? Third Kazekage glared at Yiming. Even though Yiming didn't show any signs of injury at this time, he felt that Yiming's consumption was definitely not small. After all, it was a complete tailed beast. Even, Yiming may have suffered internal injuries, he just wanted to persecute them by relying on the power of defeating the tailed beasts. Feng Ying's voice was loud, and just as he finished speaking, the Sand Shinobi army 100 meters behind him all glared at each other, ready to attack at any time. It's troublesome. In the Konoha army several hundred meters away from Yiming and Sand Shinobi's army, Naradir sighed while watching Sand Shinobi's army sharpening their knives. Yiming is still too young and too impulsive, Akamaiki Dingping also said at this time. Nara Shikichi looked at Hatake Sakumo and suggested, Lord Sakumo, prepare to fight. We can't just watch Yiming be surrounded and killed by Sand Shinobi. Everyone in Konoha looked at Hatake Sakumo. Hatake Sakumo frowned and looked at Yiming's back. After a while, he calmly said, wait. As soon as Naralu heard the words, he said anxiously, Lord Shuomao, now we are too far away from Yiming. If Sand Shinobi doesn't care about his face and rushes towards Yiming, we won't have time to rescue. Yiming's talent, you have also seen, he is only a teenager now, he will become the pillar of Konoha, and even, he, will be Konoha's future. Quote. It can be seen that Naralu has a very good impression of Yiming at this time, and even, not only Naralu, but also the Konoha shinobi present are very fond of Yiming. They admire Yiming's strength and admire Yiming's conduct. Hatake Sakumo listened to Nara Shikaichi's words, turned his head, glanced at him, and then turned his eyes to the Konoha shinobi who were just about to move, then retracted his gaze and said lightly, Yiming is a smart person, since he wants to fight Sand Shinobi alone, he has his own reasons and self-confidence, I believe him. When everyone heard the words, they all fell silent, and one by one they looked in Yiming's direction again. Little devil, I admire your strength very much. You have such terrifying power at such a young age, but you are too arrogant. Today, you will be buried here. Chiyo looked at Yiming with a calm face, summoned her 10 people, and said with a sneer on his face. Yiming's strength, as well as his age, is too terrifying. And Chiyo, who has an undeniable hatred for Konoha, naturally doesn't want Konoha to be so powerful. Therefore, Yiming must die today, and no matter how much he pays, Yiming cannot fully grow up. And Chiyo's movements and postures immediately put everyone in Sand Shinobi into a combat posture, and even Sand Shinobi ninjas are already starting to seal. Little devil, as Chiyo said, your threat is too great, and you can't stay today. Feng Ying also slowly raised his hand and controlled the iron sand surrounding him. He also saw Yiming's potential, so today, even if it is his shadow, he will kill Yiming without his face. At this time, Yiming, facing the Sand Shinobi army who were sharpening their knives, as well as the third Kazekage and Chiyo who were completely shameless and wanted to rush up, slowly showed a smile. I just said, in my eyes, you are nothing but gravel. So brave. Asshole. Insanity. Whether it was Kazekage or Chiyo and other Sand Shinobi executives, when they heard Yiming's arrogant words, they all blushed with rage. You know, they are Sand Shinobi, one of the 5 great ninja villages. Even if they Sand Shinobi are not as good as Konoha, they are also one of the 5 ninja villages in the ninja world. Now, since one of their dignified 5 ninja villages, thousands of Sand Shinobi elite army, and Sand Shinobi high level including Kaz Ying, have been despised face to face by one person, how can this not make them angry? So, everyone in Sand Shinobi, no nonsense, including Kazekage, started to attack Yiming one by one. Oh, seeing this, Yiming smiled calmly, and then, withdrew his smile, stretched his hands forward, and immediately, his palms turned into claws, and grabbed the air in front of him. Zizi. Yiming's hand on the air seemed to be on a transparent twilight. Not good. Stop all the ninjutsu attacks, 1,000 people start to defend, and the rest go up together, taijutsu, puppet attacks. Seeing Yiming's actions, third Kazekage remembered the scene where Yiming bounced the virtual dog cannon back when he was dealing with the tailed beast. As for the many ninjas in Tsunade, seeing Yiming's actions, they all gave up the ninjutsu attack without Kagage's reminder. After all, they had witnessed the entire battle between Yiming and Shuhei just now. In particular, the last scene of Yiming's rebound of the one-tail virtual dog cannon was firmly engraved in their hearts. How could they dare to launch a ninjutsu attack now? Therefore, after the ninjas of Sand Shinobi gave up the ninjutsu attack, they all followed Kazekage's instructions. More than 1,000 people began to organize defenses to prevent Yiming's attack. The rest of the people did not rush to Yiming one by one, that is, manipulating the puppet and rushing towards Yiming. And Yiming, who raised his hands high forward, naturally heard Kaz Ying's words, and also saw Sand Shinobi's changed attack method. However, in the face of such a scene, Yiming only slightly raised the corner of his mouth, and then, looking at Sand Shinobi's army, Feng Ying and others, he slowly opened his mouth and said, in the desert, natural disasters, you must all remember it fresh, right? So, what is the biggest natural disaster in the desert? Dust storms, or a tornado? Kazekage, Chiyo and other Sand Shinobi executives all stopped attacking and looked at Yiming with a frown. Yiming's face seemed to have a demonic smile, and he continued lightly, today, let's take a look at the most cruel disaster in the desert. Say it. He raised his hands forward, as if Yiming was grabbing the air. Drops of sweat dripped from his forehead. The muscles in his arms were bulging like rocks, and the veins were like small snakes. Slowly floated on his arm. Seeing Feng Ying in this scene, his heart jumped, and an ominous premonition and crisis emerged in his heart. Under Feng Ying's uneasy gaze, Yiming's hands that seemed to grab the air suddenly grabbed down. Thorn. The sound of space being torn apart resounded in everyone's ears. At this moment, whether it was Kazekage Chiyo or the charging Sand Shinobi ninja, they all stopped all their movements, stayed in place one by one, watching nervously from side to side, as if they were afraid of something, and suddenly they looked at them. General attack. A second has passed. 2 seconds have passed. Until 10 seconds later, still nothing happened. Sand Shinobi, who was nervous about everything, and Kazuki Chiyo all looked at Yiming suspiciously. What? It turned out to be just a bluff, it scared me. This fool is so bad, since thousands of us are startled. It seems that the guy spent a lot of money when he dealt with Shuhei just now. Everything just now was a lie. All the Sand Shinobi ninjas, looking at the surrounding battlefield, after neither an earthquake nor anything unusual happened, they scolded Yiming as a liar one by one, scaring so many of them. Ying and Chiyo didn't scold Yiming like the others, they just stared at Yiming, puzzled and puzzled. Not only Sand Shinobi's side was confused, but even Konoha's side was also manipulated by Yiming, so they all looked at each other in confusion. I don't know what Yiming wants to do. Even Hokage Sakumo, who had confidence in Yiming, frowned at Yiming's back after seeing Yiming's operation, his eyes were full of doubts. And in this strange atmosphere, a cry of exclamation interrupted everyone's thoughts. Ah, why did the sky suddenly darken? The exclamation came from Sand Shinobi. And as this exclamation sounded, suddenly, the entire battlefield fell into a strange silence. Thousands of Sand Shinobi ninjas all stared blankly in their left and right directions, as if they were hooked. Gudong. The sound of swallowing saliva came from the Sand Shinobi army, and then, the ninjas of Sand Shinobi slumped on the ground. How is it possible? Cheat, deceive people, right? Is this what humans can do? How is this possible? God, is this the power of God? At this moment, whether it was Sand Shinobi or Konoha's ninja, they were all stunned by the scene in front of them. All of them were stunned and froze in place, and countless people slumped on the ground in fright. Even third Kazekage, Chiyo, Hokage Sakumo, Orochimaru and other ninja masters were dumbfounded when they saw the scene in front of them. Boom. At this time, the earth began to shake slowly, and countless sand and dust were shaken from the sand and fluttered. For a time, the entire war was filled with sand and dust. However, everyone in the sand and dust did not move at all at this time, and they all looked in two directions. At this time, the sky, which was originally bright and bright, was gradually darkened, and countless sand and dust flew into the air. In the left and right directions of Sand Shinobi's army, two black lines connecting the sky and the earth are heading towards Sand Shinobi's army at a high speed. These two black lines seem to be two walls connected with the heaven and the earth. And when the two giant walls were getting closer and closer, the earth was shaking like crazy. Countless ninjas slumped on the ground, but still looked at the two walls stupidly. Natural disaster. This is a natural disaster. Monster, that guy is a monster. Since he can launch such a natural disaster-like attack, he is a devil. Chiyo came back to his senses, and looked in Yiming's direction with a look of horror in his eyes. However, at this time, Chiyo discovered that Yiming, who was only a few dozen meters away from them, had returned to the front of the Konoha army and was looking at them with his arms crossed. Third generation, now I can only rely on you, and only you can protect everyone. Chiyo is indeed Chiyo. After the initial panic and shock, she forced herself to calm down, and looked at him with a solemn expression. Third Kazekage with the same dignified expression. Call. Third Kazekage let out a long sigh, and then looked at the scene like a natural disaster with lingering fears. It's really scary. This kind of power that can cause natural disasters, it's not too much to let the beast. After sighing, Third Kazekage instructed Chiyo. Let everyone gather together immediately. At this moment, the time for Tsunagaku's life and death has come. In Ying's words, there is no exaggeration. Sand Shinobi, who was originally lacking in resources, is now the Sand Shinobi army here. If the Sand Shinobi army here, Tsunagaku will definitely suffer heavy losses, or even collapse, and there is a danger of being annexed by other countries at any time. Therefore, the Sand Shinobi elite here must not be wiped out. Soon, Chiyo has gathered everyone in the Sand Shinobi army to one place. Kazekage came to Sand Shinobi's army and sighed when he saw the panicked expressions on most people's faces. He knew that these people may have lost their courage. And this also means that even if he tried his best to survive with these people, they Tsunagaku have already lost. Because they did not dare to face Konoha, or rather, they did not dare to face Yiming, who had the power to initiate natural disasters. With so many thoughts, Ying shook his head and put down the complicated thoughts. What he has to do now is to let these people survive. Magnet style. Iron Sand Guardian. Third Kazekage mobilizes all chakra in the body. Unleash his bloodline limit magnet style. Quote. The black iron sand flew up from the ground and surrounded all the sand shinobi ninjas, slowly forming a black cover. At the same time, Mr. Yiming, your power is really terrifying. Orochimaru came to Yiming with an evil smile on his face, and looked at Yiming with a pair of snake eyes without blinking. This kind of natural disaster-like power, we will also be affected, right? Orochimaru looked at the two black lines connecting heaven and earth, and his heart was still full of shock. When Hokage Sakumo and others heard the words, they all looked at Yiming. As Orochimaru said, they were so close to Sand Shinobi that they would definitely be affected by such a wide range of attacks. Haha, Yiming smiled, then looked at the crowd and said, don't worry. It will be fine. Hokage Sakumo and the others calmed down a little when they heard the words. Since Yiming said so, it would definitely be alright. After all, Yiming initiated this disaster. At this time, the two black lines on the horizon have entered everyone's sight. I saw those two black lines, it was like a desert tsunami. Yes, the two black lines connecting the heaven and the earth, like a tsunami at sea, carrying the power of nature, took pictures here. However, unlike the tsunami, the two black lines are entirely composed of yellow sand. The wind is getting stronger. The entire desert seemed to be shaking, and everyone's eyes were full of darkness, countless sand and dust, which blocked the sunlight and also blocked everyone's sight. Boom 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 boom. Finally, the two desert tsunamis caused by Yiming's shocking power arrived. As if they were about to destroy the world, they took pictures fiercely towards this area. 2,000-meter-high desert tsunamis slammed into the iron sand guard launched by Ying, almost in the blink of an eye. Ying and Sand Shinobi's army were all submerged by the yellow sand. However, this natural disaster-like desert tsunami is far from over. When these two terrifying sand tsunamis were photographed, the power generated was terrifying. Accompanied by countless sands rushing in all directions, there is also the terrifying impact. The Konoha army at this time, as Orochimaru just said, they are too close to the Sand Shinobi army. When the two sand tsunamis were photographed, the ground shook, as if an earthquake of magnitude 10 or higher was occurring. And this is still the beginning, countless sands. With the shock wave coming towards them. Such a terrifying shock wave, and there is so much sand in the shock wave, there is no doubt that under this shock wave, it is still possible to survive. Because, with the terrifying shock wave blessing, those sands have become knives that can kill people. If ordinary people are under this shock wave, they will be washed away in just a few seconds. However, in the face of such a powerful shock wave, Konoha's ninja army, although they were afraid of fear, but they were not confused, all their eyes were looking in one direction. That is Yiming's direction. Yiming watched the terrifying shock wave that was coming towards them. Naturally, he would not remain indifferent. He saw that he took a few steps forward and faced the shock wave carrying countless yellow sand. He clenched his fist and charged up. Go out. Crack clap clap. The familiar sound of a broken mirror sounded, and in front of Yiming, oh no, it should be said that the front of the Konoha shinobi army, there were dense cracks, and then, under the gaze of thousands of Konoha shinobi, a stream of the terrifying vibrational force flew towards the shock wave. Boom! The power of vibration and the shock wave carrying the yellow sand collided together. Suddenly, another earth-shattering explosion sounded. Then, the shock wave carrying the yellow sand seemed to have the power to destroy the world. Since it was invisible to this wave, the force of the vibration was directly impacted and fell back. Hoo. The wind is still blowing, and the sand and dust are flying in the air along with the wind. When the wind gradually weakened, the sand and dust drifted away with the wind, and finally sank to the ground again. The natural disaster seemed to have passed. Even, because this place is in the desert, if you are not familiar with this terrain, I am afraid that you will not find that an unprecedented natural disaster has occurred here. Cough cough cough. The sand was quiet, and the sound of coughing was wafting in the breeze. The army of Konoha shinobi, while cleaning the sand and dust from their bodies, stretched their necks and looked forward. When everyone saw the huge sand dunes in front of them, oh no, it shouldn't be called a dune, but a big mountain of sand. Everyone opened their mouths. Because, there used to be a desert plain in the location of Sand Shinobi's army. Gosh, OMG, sand, where's Sand Shinobi's army of ninjas? Why don't you ask? It must have been buried in the sand mountain. Too terrifying. This is a natural disaster in the desert. Can this kind of power really be mastered by humans? Oh my god, I can't believe it. Konoha's ninjas, looking at the mountain in front of them, first whispered a few people, and then, countless people all exploded the pot. At the same time, all the eyes looking in the direction of Yiming were silent with complicated expressions. There was fear, there was excitement, but more of awe. Power, this is the power of gods. It is both terrifying, obsessive and exciting, and even more awe-inspiring to this power. Has Sand Shinobi been wiped out? Naruto looked at the scene in front of him and was speechless. At this time, he realized what it meant. In the face of absolute power, any conspiracy and tricks were useless. The Nara family was able to gain a foothold in the ninja world with wisdom, but now that he saw wisdom, he couldn't ignore the power. Fortunately, people with such power are not enemies. Naruto looked at Yiming and secretly said in his heart, at least, not now, and I hope not in the future. This kind of power is too terrifying. The Nara clan is a wise ninja clan. As the patriarch of the current Nara clan, he naturally knows the darkness of Konoha now, and the current Yiming is indeed their comrade in arms. However, he really didn't know whether the current comrade in arms would be the enemy in the future. He really doesn't want to be an enemy of a guy with such a natural disaster-like power. It's really troublesome. Nara Shikaichi was a little irritable, and at the same time, he was thinking about the future of the Nara clan. Oh no, the Ino-Shika-Cho clan. This kind of power is no less than the legendary wood style who calmed down the ninja world, right? Such power is probably even more terrifying than wood style, because people with such power, age. When he was 13 or 14 years old, what was the god of the ninja world doing? I'm afraid he would never have such power, would he? This is really a fascinating bloodline limit. With a somewhat crazy smile on his face, Orochimaru looked at Yiming and thought to himself. Has Sand Shinobi been all buried? Hatake Sakumo looked at the scene in front of him and asked slowly. It's just that he wasn't asking anyone, he seemed to be talking to himself. No. At this time, Yiming opened his mouth, and at the same time, he also turned everyone's eyes towards him. Yiming smiled, and then, looking at the huge sand dunes in front of him, he said lightly, Ying. As expected of a person with the name of Ying, it really shouldn't be underestimated. Everyone heard the words and looked at the huge sand dunes in front of them. Lord Yiming, you mean, Sand Shinobi's wind shadow, resisted the terrifying natural disaster? Mizi asked in disbelief as she looked at Yiming with her beautiful eyes. You know, she was one of the closest people to the natural disaster that just happened. Just feeling the desert tsunami carrying the power of heaven and earth made her feel that her soul was trembling. And in the core area of the desert tsunami, since Feng Ying has resisted such a natural disaster, how is this possible? Don't underestimate the movie. Yiming looked at the shocked beauty, smiled at her, rubbed her head and said. Quote. At this moment, a sound of sand rubbing sounded. Everyone's eyes turned to the dunes. Boom, the huge sand dunes were separated by black iron sand. Then, everyone saw a broken black cover under the huge sand dunes, which was slowly collapsing. Then, the army of Sand Shinobi appeared in the sight of the army of Konoha Shinobi, among. However, the Sand Shinobi army was a bit miserable at this time. Many ninjas bled and lay on the ground. Those who survived were either slumped on the ground with a sluggish expression or murmured in pain. Obviously, although Kawai used his magnet style to resist the attack like a natural disaster, he did not let the desert tsunami hit them directly. However, that power like a natural disaster, how could it be so easy to resist that? Just the terrifying impact force directly killed countless low-strength genins. Even the nervously fragile Chunin, Jonin, left an indelible mental illness under the terrifying power. As expected of the shadow of a village, Hatake Sakumo looked at the appearance of Sand Shinobi's army at this time, and couldn't help but admire Kazekage. Without him, he did what the shadow should do. Yeah, the third Kazekage has fulfilled its responsibility. Yiming nodded in agreement after hearing Hatake Sakumo's words, and immediately walked towards the Sand Shinobi army. Hatake Sakumo, Nara Shikaichi, Orochimaru and others followed Yiming, followed by Konoha's army, who followed Yiming and others one by one, and walked towards the Sand Shinobi army. Cough cough cough. Wow, The surrounding black iron sand was scattered on the ground, and third Kazekage knelt on one knee on the ground, supporting his body with one hand, and coughing constantly while covering his mouth with one hand. Coughing, third Kazekage suddenly spit out a large mouthful of blood, and in an instant, the sand in front of third Kazekage was dyed red. Obviously, just now, third Kazekage controlled the iron sand and resisted the catastrophic desert tsunami by one person, which caused him a lot of injuries. Lord Third Generation, what's wrong with you, Third Generation Sama? Seeing this scene, the senior management of Sand Shinobi, the Chiyo brothers and the others, their expressions changed, and they stepped forward one after another. I'm fine, cough wow. Third Kazekage waved his hand and said that he was fine, but as he spoke, another cough and blood spit out from his mouth. Third Generation, Chiyo squatted down and began to check her body for Kazekage. Seriously check her body. Third Generation, your internal injury is very serious. In the short term, you may not be able to use chakra. After investigating Kazekage's injury, Chiyo felt a little relieved, then looked at third Kazekage seriously and said. The surrounding Sand Shinobi executives were relieved when they heard Chiyo's words. As long as is not life-threatening. Alas, Feng Ying sighed. It's a blessing to be able to survive under that kind of power. Thinking of the power of heaven and earth just now. In the confrontation scene, Feng Ying couldn't help but have lingering fears. Konoha's ninjas are here. Also, there's that devil, he's here too, what should I do? What should I do? At this time, Sand Shinobi's ninja finally saw Konoha's ninja, led by Ying, and slowly walked towards them. Chiyo and other Sand Shinobi executives saw this, and they all took on fighting stances. And the surviving Sand Shinobi saw this. Also made a fighting stance. Only, when their eyes fell on Ying. Except for Chiyo and Kazekage, all of them subconsciously took a few steps back. Ying stopped more than 10 meters in front of Sand Shinobi's army. Seeing this, everyone in Konoha also stopped and stood behind Ying. Ying stood before the two armies without speaking. He first glanced at Sand Shinobi's ninja. And those Sand Shinobi who were watched by Ying all lowered their heads, not daring to meet Ying's gaze. After Ying glanced at Sand Shinobi, he glanced at Chiyo who was controlling the 10 people in Kinmatsu and put on a fighting stance, and then he looked at third Kazekage behind Chiyo, who slowly got up. You deserve the title of Shadow, Sand Shinobi has survived because of you. Ying looked at third Kazekage and said calmly. Stop talking nonsense, fight if you want. Chiyo heard the words, stared at Ying fiercely, and stared at Hokage Sakumo beside Ying. Ying sneered when he heard Chiyo's words, war. You ask them, do they want to fight again? Ying pointed to the Sand Shinobi army behind Chiyo and others. Chiyo heard the words, glanced at the Sand Shinobi army behind him, and immediately fell silent. Ying ignored Chiyo and looked at third Kazekage with burning eyes. Is it a battle, is it a surrender? After Ying uttered these 4 words, everyone's eyes turned to third Kazekage, and the entire battlefield fell silent for a while. Third Kazekage took a complicated look. Ying still had some immature face, then turned to look at Sand Shinobi's army of ninjas, and then slowly pulled away Chiyo who was in front of him, looking at Ying and Konoha Daijin sighed and said, Sand Shinobi is defeated. Quiet. The scene was silent at first, and then, the cheers of the sky resounded from the Konoha army throughout the world. Win. We win. Win. We win. Long live Konoha, long live Lord Ying. Konoha's ninjas were cheering with joy. Everyone shouted out excitedly. Win. Konoha wins. The war is finally over. The ninjas of Konoha, cheering happily, laughing ridiculously, someone cried. Because this war has taken away many people, including their relatives, friends, and lovers. They were in this war and left them forever. In contrast to the cheers of Konoha Shinobi, Sand Shinobi on Sand Shinobi's side is like a defeated rooster, bowing his head and looking abnormally low. Many Sand Shinobi shed tears silently. They also lost many relatives and friends in this war, but they still lost the war. The defeat of the war means that they need to pay heavy reparations. Tsunade, who was originally lacking in resources, now has to pay huge war compensation, which is undoubtedly worse for Sand Shinobi. Senior, the next thing is left to you. I'm tired, Yiming cheered like Konoha's ninja, but turned his head to Hitachi Sakumo and said, "Good. Good work." Hitachi Sakumo nodded. Yiming nodded, turned directly towards Konoha's camp, and walked over. Master Yiming. Seeing this, Mizi quickly followed. Master Yiming. Master Yiming. Passing through the cheering Konoha army, all the Konoha ninjas on the way gave way and stared at Yiming with awe. Hitachi Sakumo looked at Yiming's back, frowned slightly, and then looked at Third Kazekage and said, "Third Kazekage." Yiming returned to Konoha camp with Miko to the cheers of thousands of Konoha shinobi. At this time, everyone in the Konoha camp also knew the news of the victory of the war, and the entire camp was also cheering. Once again, he was complimented by the ninjas in the camp, and then, under the awe-inspiring eyes of all Konoha shinobi, he came to his private camp. "Lord Yiming, you are so powerful that you are able to launch such a natural disaster-like attack." Lord Yiming didn't know that, at that time, Mizi followed Yiming into the tent, and immediately turned into a lark, in the tent, jumping, chatting non-stop. Yiming was sitting on the bed, looking at Mizi who was chatting non-stop. A faint smile appeared on his face, but this smile soon solidified. Yiming, who was originally full of indifference, suddenly turned pale, cold sweat dripped from his forehead, and his expression became more and more hideous. "Lord Yiming, have you noticed that many people are just you? Ah. What's wrong with you, Lord Yiming?" Mizi, who was talking excitedly, suddenly saw Yiming's appearance, was suddenly taken aback, and hurriedly stepped forward to support him. However, as soon as her hand touched Yiming's body, she felt a chill on her hand. Mizi raised her hand suspiciously and looked at it. Her face changed immediately, and she directly lifted Yiming's clothes. When Mizi saw the scene under Yiming's clothes, she was stunned. Seeing the scene under Yiming's clothes, Mizi was stunned. "I saw that on Yiming's body at this time, a stream of blood was pouring out continuously like he didn't want money. The body was covered with small cracks. These cracks were densely organized together, like a spider web, covered Yiming's body. And the blood on Yiming's body came out of these cracks. Lord Yiming, what is this, what the hell is going on?" Miko's eyes were wet, and she hurriedly performed medical ninjutsu to treat Yiming's injuries, and tears fell. The side effects of my blood following the limit." Yiming didn't hide it, and replied directly to Mizi. "He is not blind, this girl has completely moved her heart towards him after coming down this time. It's just that he always had that girl in his heart, so he never responded to Miko's feelings. However, Yiming's heart was touched by her when the girl rushed behind him and greeted Tailed Beast Bomb as if she was desperate. It is undeniable that Yiming also has a trace of affection for this beautiful and kind girl. It hurts my brain. If Kushina finds out, will I be beaten to death by her?" In Yiming's mind, Kushina's red hair, black face, and white pupils appeared in Yiming's mind. Picture of raised fist. Yiming couldn't help but fight a cold war. It was terrible. Kushina after getting angry was terrible, even more terrible than a tailed beast. And Mizi, who was treating Yiming's injury, suddenly felt Yiming's body shaking, thinking that it was hurting him, and tears began to fall without money. Are there any side effects of Shueji boundary? How is this side effect? Why is it so terrifying? Lord Yiming, your meridians, blood vessels, and skin are all bursting. Mizi checked Yiming's injuries while stopping the bleeding. As Yiming and Tsunade's former deputy, Miko's medical ninjutsu talent, naturally needless to say, especially under the guidance of Tsunade and Yiming, it can be said that her medical ninjutsu is a little worse than Yiming and Tsunade. So, she quickly checked out Yiming's injury. "It's all right." Yiming shook his head with a wry smile, and immediately stopped Mizi from treating him. "I'll do it myself. For this kind of injury. Please help me take a look outside, don't let anyone else disturb me. If Hitachi Sakumo and the others come to me, they will say that I am tired and need a good rest. Also, please don't tell others about the side effects of my blood following the limit." Quote. Mizi was obviously a little reluctant, but thinking about Yiming's blood following the side effects of the boundary, it must be Yiming's most important secret, and she could only go to the camp to help Yiming watch it. After Mizi went out, Yiming performed medical ninjutsu on himself while looking at the spider web-like skin cracks on his body, and muttered to himself, Sure enough, my body is more comparable to Whitebeard's body. It was simply too weak to start a shock of that level, and the body was almost collapsed by the force of the anti-shock. It seems that the occupation of the Land of Rain will be put on the agenda. As long as the tasks of the system are completed, maybe a perfect sage body will be rewarded, so there is no need to worry about the shock. Quote. Seeing that the wound on his body was slowly healing under his medical ninjutsu, Yiming couldn't help but yearn for Senju Hashirama's sage body. If he has the self-healing ability like Senju Hashirama, he can basically ignore the anti-Xiaomi power of shock fruit. However, if you want to get rewards from the system, even a perfect sage body, you must complete system tasks. The first stage of the system task is to occupy a site. He wanted to directly occupy Konoha, but in a short period of time, it was obviously impossible, so his eyes fell on the Kingdom of Rain early in the morning. And after he occupied the Land of Rain, he would undoubtedly receive rewards from the system. At that time, his strength would definitely be improved by leaps and bounds. At that time, he would have a greater grasp of his occupation of Konoha. Restricted by my body and age, if I want to improve my strength, I can only find another way. As Yiming treated himself, he recalled the scenes of today's battle. His current body has reached its current peak, and it is very difficult for him to continue to improve his strength by training his body. Therefore, if he wants to continue to become stronger, he must rely on other means. My attack method is still too monotonous. In the words of the previous life game, my current fighting method is properly a close-range fighter, and there are too few long-range attacks. Even no, Yiming frowned and thought. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Maybe, I need a knife. In Yiming's mind, he remembered the scene in the Pirates where Whitebeard condensed the power of shock on the body of the knife and threw it out. It seems that during this time, I have to ask Hokage Sakumo about swordsmanship. Yiming said suddenly. For 4 or 5 days in a row, Yiming was in his tent, and Mizi was in charge of all his meals. Yiming hasn't shown up for the past few days. Hokage Sakumo and others have also come to him, but they were all stopped by Mako because Yiming needed a rest and some feelings after the battle. However, Hokage Sakumo and others Jiao Nuohao are not fools either. If Yiming didn't show up for a day or two, maybe they didn't think much about it, but Yiming didn't show up for several days. It is speculated that Yiming may have been seriously injured during the battle with the tailed beast. Even in Konoha's camp, there were rumors that Yiming was seriously injured and was about to die. However, when Yiming appeared alive and well in front of everyone on the 6th day, the rumor was naturally broken. Now, Tsunade has surrendered to Konoha. However, these matters are none of Yiming's business, and even Hokage Sakumo has no right to take over this matter. The news has been communicated back to Konoha, and now it's just waiting for Konoha to send messengers to talk to Sand Shinobi about the surrender. And Yiming also took advantage of this time, and began to ask Hokage Sakumo about swordsmanship. Konoha, Hokage office. Pat pat pat. At this time, the Hokage office was completely silent, whether it was 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, or the Konoha Pot King Shimura Danzo, as well as Udatane Kaharu, Mitokado Homura, all were silent, their eyes were a little erratic, and they didn't know what they were thinking about. 3rd Hokage, even more, was constantly smoking a dry cigarette, staring at a report on the desk without blinking. And this is the information just returned from the Sand Shinobi battlefield. Oh no, it should be said that this is a good news. The Sand Shinobi battle was won and Tsunade surrendered, which should have been a heavy weight. But, at this moment, whether it was 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, or Shimura Danzo, Udatane Kaharu, and Mitokado Homura, there was no smile on their faces, instead they looked like they had encountered some kind of trouble, and they frowned. Call. After a while, Sarutobi Hiruzen let out a puff of smoke, looked at his 3 friends and said, "You all read the information, let's talk about it. What should we do about Kimura Yiming?" Silence. Whether it's Shimura Danzo who dances the most, or Udatane Kaharu, Mitokado Homura. All were silent at this point. In fact, it can't blame Danzo for not wanting to speak, but the report describing Yiming's strength is too terrifying. What punches smashed tailed beast bomb, crushed and captured one tail show crane, and launched a natural disaster like desert tsunami. Each of these things is enough to prove Yiming's strength at this time, even terrifying. Why didn't you speak? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the three people with some dissatisfaction, and his eyes finally fell on Shimura Danzo. Danzo, didn't you say that Yiming handed over to you? What's the matter now? What happened? After 3 years, he has not been dealt with, but his strength has become stronger. As early as Yiming showed his edge and was able to fight Hanzo alone, Danzo indicated that he would send someone to assassinate Yiming, and at the same time, he also, accidentally, leaked Yiming's information to other shinobi villages. But, 3 years, 3 full years. Not only is Yiming alive and well, but the strength he is showing now is even more terrifying. Ninja disaster. Yes, Sarutobi Hiruzen can already predict that when this information spreads in the ninja world, Yiming's title of Konoha Supernova will definitely be changed. And the natural disaster in the ninja world will be Yiming's new title. Hiruzen, you don't have to get angry at the end. Shimura Danzo, who has always been dissatisfied with Sarutobi Hiruzen, was pointed at the nose and roared by Sarutobi Hiruzen. How could he feel comfortable? Danzo stood up directly, and said with a gloomy face, in the past 3 years, I have sent a lot of assassination teams to the country of rain, but, without exception, all of them have not returned. And, according to the information I got, for 3 years, whether it was Rock Shinobi, Cloud Shinobi, or Sand Shinobi, they also sent assassination teams, but he was still alive. Now, with the power he has shown, I can be sure of all those who assassinated him. I'm afraid he has all been reversed. Quote. Danzo, Sarutobi Hiruzen said at this time, I don't want to hear your excuses, find reasons, Yiming's strength, you don't need to say more now, catch the tailed beast alive, launch a natural disaster like desert tsunami, this has already been, it is not something that ordinary strong men can do. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, after taking a puff of cigarette, he looked at Danzo expressionlessly and said, this matter is your dereliction of duty, you should let go of the root for a while, and Kaharu and Homura will take over temporarily. Udatain Kaharu Mitokado Homura, who was eating melon at the side, was stunned at first, then overjoyed. This melon is so sweet. Eating and eating, a big pie can still fall. No, I don't agree, the root is what I have worked so hard to build. Danzo, don't forget, I'm Hokage. Before Danzo could finish speaking, be bad, Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted. Humph, Danzo clenched his fists and didn't argue anymore, but he was thinking, it's so easy to take over my roots. At the same time, for the position of Hokage, more eager. And Udatain Kaharu Mitokado Homura sees Danzo silently, it's almost like a form. Let's talk about it now, how should Yiming deal with it? Sarutobi Hiruzen removed Danzo's power easily, feeling a little better, looking at the three again and asked. Sarutobi, this Yiming can't stay. After all, we accepted his fate when he went to the front line 3 years ago, and, looking at his character, we have definitely guessed something. He is a destabilizing factor for Konoha and must be eliminated as soon as possible. Danzo spoke viciously at this time. However, with the strength he has shown now, the average Jonin may not be able to cope with him, unless, Udatain Kaharu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen after taking the words. Hiruzen, it seems that you need to do it. Mitokado Homura heard Udatain Kaharu's words and took it. Yes, in this situation, you can only go out to Sarutobi. Danzo's mouth rose slightly, and then continued, anyway, Sarutobi, you are also the strongest Hokage, it should not be a problem to deal with that kid, and I don't care. Yi has an army of tens of thousands of ninjas, and he is afraid that he will fail alone. He thinks he is Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara. Cough cough. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was smoking, heard Danzo's joke that he was the strongest Hokage, and finally mentioned Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, and suddenly felt a little unable to get off the stage, and his old face couldn't help turning red. And Udatain Kaharu and Mitokado Homura, looking at the embarrassed Sarutobi Hiruzen, all smirked. The strongest Hokage, hee, where do you put Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara? Cough. Sarutobi Hiruzen coughed awkwardly, and then said seriously, there is no outsider here, so I'll just say it straight. Judging from this information, even if I make a move, I'm afraid I might not be able to take him down. The three Danzo saw that Sarutobi Hiruzen became serious, and they all became serious. When they heard Sarutobi Hiruzen admit that even he might not win Yiming, the faces of the three of them all changed. Although they disdain Sarutobi Hiruzen's hypocrisy, they all have to admit Sarutobi Hiruzen's strength. Even Danzo has to admit the strength of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Indeed much stronger than him. The title of the strongest Hokage may be a bit of a C, but the titles of Ninja and Dr. Ninjutsu are all recognized. Even in the ninja world at this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen's strength is absolutely top. And Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was so powerful, actually admitted that he couldn't take Yiming. This. Sarutobi, are you kidding me? Are you not even sure you can take him down? Udatane Kaharu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen in disbelief and asked. Yeah, Sarutobi, although you're the strongest Hokage is a bit, I mean, with your strength, you're not sure about taking him. Is he really that strong? Mitokado Homura almost said what was in his heart, and quickly changed his words. Sarutobi Hiruzen glared at Mitokado Homura, and then said solemnly, although I haven't really fought against him, from the information, if I want to defeat him, I can only use sealing and illusion. Because, his blood following the limit, whether it is ninjutsu or taijutsu, is too restrained. Especially in taijutsu, I am afraid that in the entire ninja world, no one dares to compete with him in taijutsu. Sarutobi Hiruzen evaluated his strength and fighting style, and thought about Yiming's bloodline limit, and finally came to a conclusion. That is, he wants to deal with Yiming, whether it is ninjutsu or taijutsu, all are restrained. Because, if it is ninjutsu, Yiming can break through the limit with one punch. After all, that's enough to knock out a few tailed beast bombs with one punch. Although his 5 escape ninjutsu is awesome, but in the face of the power of the tailed beast bomb with that punch, he felt that his ninjutsu should not be shamed. Because, it's like a fool who takes Susanoo with no thorns, it's so stupid. Danzo, are you polite? Let's not talk about physical skills, forget it, he was afraid that his wishful golden cudgel would be directly cut off by someone's fist. After all, they were relying on a pair of fists to blow up the one-tail Shuhei. He wasn't sure whether his ape demon could resist Yiming's fist. Therefore, if he wanted to deal with Yiming, the only means he could come up with were illusion and sealing. What if you add Danzo? It's not difficult for the two of you to join forces to take him down, right? Besides, isn't there Hitachi Sakumo and the masters of the various ninjas? Minamiman said again. And after he finished speaking, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo, Udatane Kaharu, all looked at him like an idiot. Idiot, Danzo looked at Mitokado Homura with disdain. Homura, you know that Yiming hasn't betrayed the village yet, even if we want to make a move, we can only do it in secret, Udatane Kaharu sighed and said to Mitokado Homura. Mitokado Homura was instantly embarrassed. Alas, Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed, and then said, as Kaharu said, Yiming is still our Konoha ninja, we can't do it directly, so let's give up preparations for him for the time being. Maybe, I can let Yiming put down his grievances, or maybe he didn't find out what we arranged for him. If this is the case, we Konoha will gain a deterrent that is not lost to the tailed beast. Quote. Sarutobi, you are too naive, do you think what you said is possible? You must know that he was on the front line when they were in the same class, and it was our direct order. I am sure that in his heart at this time, there are no leaves anymore. So, Sarutobi, prepare for the worst, Danzo hurriedly said after hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's words. No way, he knew too well the demagogic power of his old buddy. With Yiming's age, Danzo really can't say whether Yiming will be brainwashed by Sarutobi Hiruzen. He didn't want a young guy like Yiming, who had the power of a natural disaster, to be drawn by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Otherwise, when will his Hokage dream come true? Sarutobi Hiruzen listened to Danzo's words, cast a glance at him, and immediately understood what the old boy was paying attention to, so, looking at Danzo, he said indifferently, Danzo, did you forget the order to let Yiming go to the front line of the battlefield, did it come from you? Hearing this, Danzo suddenly widened his eyes, his face full of shock. So, the pot, or am I going to carry it? Seeing this scene, Udatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura covered their faces and couldn't bear to look directly. Well, it turns out that all the pots are for Danzo to resist. Cough. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't dare to look at Danzo's cannibalistic gaze, and after coughing again, he changed the subject seriously. Tsunade has already expressed his surrender, so let's discuss the next negotiation together. At the same time, the good news of Tsunade's defeat and surrender reached the ears of everyone in Konoha. Undoubtedly, this news caused Konoha, who had been suppressed for more than 3 years, to burst into cheers. Win. Victory. We Konoha are victorious. We won. We Konoha won. Great. Is the war finally over? Yiming is Lord Yiming. This war is thanks to Lord Yiming. Haha. As expected of the genius of our Konoha, the supernova of Konoha, 3 years ago, he punched the mountain pepper fish and fought the demigods of the ninja world alone. Today, 3 years later, since one person has changed the battle situation. It's just amazing. As Konoha supernova, I see. It should be called the natural disaster of the ninja world now. Don't you know, I heard from the wounded who just returned, Lord Yiming launched a natural disaster in the desert, my dear, see you in the tsunami composed of sand. Ever, have you heard of it? A desert tsunami more than 1,000 meters high, my god. Just thinking about it makes me feel terrible. Yeah, I heard about it just now. Isn't the scene like the end of the world? Tsunami in the desert. Tisk tisk. Never heard of it. No, I also heard that Tsunade's tailed beast, Shuhei, was captured by Lord Yiming. Does the tailed beast know? The ultimate weapon of every ninja village. Hey, I also heard that Lord Yiming's medical ninjutsu is also very powerful. He is no longer inferior to Lord Tsunade. The brutality of the war made everyone in Konoha village, who had been suppressed for 3 years, boil over. Everyone went to the street, sharing the information they knew, and the whole Konoha village was very lively. At the same time, the various ninja tribes in Konoha village also obtained all the information about Yiming, as well as all the descriptions of this battle. Needless to say, when the patriarchs of the various ninja tribes saw the description of Yiming's strength in the intelligence, they all showed shocked expressions. Tsunade, Tsunade, Yiming big brother is coming back, Yiming big brother is coming back. In the deserted Senju clan, a girl with a graceful figure, delicate facial features, and beautiful red hair is excitedly coming to a small yard, directly opening the door of the small yard, walking in, and shouting excitedly, shouting. Oh, why are you drinking like this again? The slim Kushina, who has just grown up, opened the door of the room and looked at Tsunade lying on the bed, full of helplessness. Since Tsunade came back from the battlefield, her whole person seems to have changed. Every day is not gambling in the casino, oh no, it should be giving money, or drinking like a pile of mud. However, she also understands why Tsunade has become like this. Let me ask, the original Konoha #1 wealthy family, the #1 family in the ninja world, is now the only one left. And, what led to this situation was the teacher who taught her ninjutsu, one of the people she once respected the most. What could she do? Kushina shook Tsunade lying on the bed, chattering in dissatisfaction, trying to wake him up. Stinky, full of alcohol, really, get up, stinky Tsunade. Big cow, get up soon. Ah, seeing that Tsunade didn't respond, Kushina sighed, and then, ignoring the drunk Tsunade, he left the room and sat down on the stone bench in the courtyard alone, his chin resting on his hands, and he looked at the door in a trance. The desolate Senju clan. Yiming big brother is finally coming back. I heard that he has become so powerful now that he is no match for the tailed beast. Putting his chin on his hands, thinking of the news just received, Kushina's face showed a sweetness smile. But when she mentioned the word, tailed beast, the smile on her face froze. She sat up straight, and unconsciously touched her belly with her hand, and said melancholy, I don't know Yiming big brother. Knowing these things, will you still despise me? Kushina said this, looking a little depressed, even a little panicked. However, in just a moment, Kushina recovered again, clenched a small fist tightly, and said viciously, humph. I won't come back for 3 or 4 years, if I dare to dislike this fairy, I will. I will, beat him to death. *##. In a low cave in the country of grass. Mr. Ban, let me tell you. That scene is so terrifying. If I want to describe it, there are only 2 words. I definitely didn't lie to you. Oops, it really scared me to death. When I saw that scene, it was almost, I was about to poop out of fright. So scary, and old-fashioned, gray-haired, wrinkled-faced Uchiha Madara, and Black Zetsu, who was black all over his body, looked at the white Zetsu with his teeth and claws in front of him, shouting like a stand-up comedian, all with black lines on one end. Black lines are only available in ban, because black Zetsu are all black in the first place. Finally, after Uchiha Madara learned the specific situation from White Zetsu's words, he finally couldn't hold back when he looked at White Zetsu, who was still chattering. Okay, White Zetsu, you can get out. Ban, whose head was hurting a little, held a weapon like a Shinigami scythe as a walking stick and stabbed the ground hard, causing White Zetsu to shut up quickly. Oops, Mr. Ban, it's so scary, I almost got pooped out of fright again, White Zetsu said with a frightened look, and went underground. After White Zetsu left, Uchiha Madara was lost in thought. At this time, Black Zetsu opened his mouth and said, Lord Ban, we can no longer ignore the strength that kid has. Yeah, Uchiha Madara, who was silent for a moment, nodded, and then sighed a little. I didn't expect that such a genius can be born in this era, and this genius still doesn't have the blood of the Uchiha family or the Senju family. I really lost my sight. However, at the age of a teenager, he has the power of a live tail-grabbing beast. At this age, even me or Hashirama can't do it. Moreover, according to White Zetsu's description of the bloodline limit just now, since he can launch such a natural disaster-like attack, if this kid can't be used by me, it will definitely be a stumbling block to my plan in the future. After Uchiha Madara finished speaking, he fell silent again. Yiming's growth rate, as well as his future potential, really surprised him. Originally, when he heard about Yiming for the first time, he didn't pay much attention to it. After all, in his opinion, a guy without Uchiha bloodline, even if he was strong, would not be very strong. However, Yiming's performance really gave him a slap in the face. At such an age, he punch-tailed Beast Bomb, captured one tail alive, and launched that kind of natural disaster-like attack. This made Ban have to start paying attention to Yiming. Lord Class, in your opinion, how to solve that little one? Black Zetsu asked at this time. If such a genius can't be used by me, it can only be destroyed. However, I still want to give it a try to see if I can fool. Oh no, it's to win him over. After all, his relationship with Nagato seems to be good, even, I suspect that the kid may already know about Nagato's Rinnegan. If he can't win over, he can only destroy it. Uchiha Madara said indifferently. Oh, those adults, do you have any plans? Black Zetsu then asked. Uchiha Madara thought for a while, and then a smile appeared on the old face. Didn't the last information say that this kid has a deep bond with Konoha's Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? Yes, Mr. Ban, that brat and Nine-Tails Jinchuriki seem to be a couple, and they are childhood sweethearts. True, Black Zetsu seems to know what Ban is going to do, and the position of his pitch-black mouth made him smile. Humph, Uchiha Madara snorted coldly at this time, and then said, it seems that it is time for my rotten body to move. I believe that little devil will soon become the inheritor of my philosophy. Bye. After Uchiha Madara finished speaking, he slowly stood up, and at the same time, in his blood-red eyes, the three Guyu slowly turned, and then the three Guyu were connected together to form a pattern. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.